Sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Just hours before new tariffs were set to kick in, President Trump unveiled a sweeping new set on products from many countries not covered in the pre-existing agreement.
This is making our country very rich and respected again.
I'm Michael Wallace. Many of the U.S.'s trade partners are not happy with the new tariffs. Nicola Willis is the finance minister of New Zealand, which saw its tariffs rise from 10 to 15%.
This is a disappointing development.
Switzerland, whose tariffs jumped from 31 to 39%, says it will seek more negotiations. On the flip side, Cambodia's Deputy Prime Minister Sun Chanthol thanked President Trump for reducing the tariffs on his country from 49 to 19%. Malaysia and Thailand were also glad to be lowered.
The new tariffs set to kick in next Thursday. The Labor Department releases the July jobs report next hour, and analysts expect a slowdown in hiring. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
Sectors to watch will be healthcare, leisure and hospitality, and tech hiring. There's a bidding war for workers who can help companies grow their AI divisions.
New York Times reports AI technologists are negotiating pay packages worthy of NBA stars in the $250 million range. A 28-year-old teacher is scheduled to make a court appearance in Arkansas today after confessing to stabbing to death a couple at Devil's Den State Park while they were walking with their two young children. State Police Colonel Mike Hager.
Although everyone is innocent until proven guilty, we did confirm that our suspect's DNA has been a positive match to the DNA that we suspected to belong to our suspect at the scene.
Andrew McGann's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder. He was arrested Wednesday while he was getting a haircut. Heavy rain swamped parts of the Northeast. Subway station in Philly inundated. A driver in New York City swam out of a partially submerged semi-truck. CBS's Elijah Westbrook.
Now that the storm has passed us, the NYPD and the FDNY have been going around to some of the low-lying areas overnight here in Queens to check on residents in basement apartments. As for LIRR train service, the MTA's website is warning riders that reduced service is expected, operating on only one of 2 tracks until complete repairs can be made.
The writer behind a popular British Netflix hit is going to write the next James Bond movie.
By order of the Peaky Blinders.
Stephen Knight, who created Peaky Blinders, has been hired to pen the upcoming Bond film for Amazon MGM. Dow futures down 460. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
At 6:03, we have partly cloudy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, August 1st. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. Boeing making a new contract offer to Machinist Local 837, calling it the richest deal ever proposed to the St. Louis Union. We get the details from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
This updated offer boosts the pension multiplier in year 1, retains current overtime policies, removes a controversial workweek schedule plan, adds a 50-cent per hour annual attendance bonus, and there's a $5,000 ratification bonus on the table. But if members vote to approve the deal on Sunday night, the stakes on this are high. The contract covers about 3,200 workers who build military aircraft like the F-15, F-A-18 Super Hornet, T-7 trainer jet, and MQ-25 refueling drone at Boeing's St. Louis area facilities. Union members previously rejected the first initial proposal. They'll take another vote on this new submission on Sunday, beginning at 10 a.m. Central. If they say no, a strike could begin that night at midnight.
2 Missouri state lawmakers are suing over the Chiefs Royal Stadium incentive package passed by the legislature in special session in June. State Senator Mike Moon and State Representative Bryant Wolfen are joined in the suit by longtime activist Ron Calzone, who successfully sued over legislation in the past. Moon didn't like the bill during the special session, calling it unconstitutional and saying Governor Kehoe let his ambition to keep the 2 teams in Missouri cloud his judgment. Moon claims the suit is about getting guidance from the court over what can be in a single bill, considering this one combined wildly different and unrelated subjects.
Bold changes are needed to improve St. Louis, according to a new report given to the mayor.
Mayor Kara Spencer's transition committee compiled the 62-page report, which proposes changes in the short term, like a recruiting blitz to hire 200 new police officers in a year, and forming a partnership with the city's continuum of care to address the homeless population. Mayor Kara Spencer also appreciates the depth of the report, which included pitfalls to avoid.
The report identified things that we can and should be doing. They also identified cautions and things and recognitions of things of processes that make that difficult.
Spencer was also happy to see short-term and long-term recommendations for how to recover from May's tornado included. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis police shot and killed a carjacking suspect Thursday in the Hyde Park neighborhood. The carjacking took place overnight not far from where the suspect was found. The victim from out of town was pulled out of their Ford Fusion by gunpoint. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy addresses that.
These are individuals that have absolute no care whatsoever in their bodies for any human life.
Detectives later in the day spotted the stolen car with a group of people. When they approached, they say an armed man ran off. Detectives chased him and told him to drop his gun. He did not. Officers fired shots. The man pronounced dead on the scene. He's not been identified.
A St. Louis man accused of repeatedly ripping off the Home Depot in Brentwood, walking away with more than $13,000 in goods. Police say Jeremy Denzel Booker pulled the scam by swapping price tags and underscanning items. Even after getting caught in May, he allegedly kept at it. Booker, who has prior theft at the Town and Country location on his record, is now jailed on $25,000 bond.
Nationally, just over 4% of kindergarten students were exempt from vaccine requirements in 2024, up from about 3% the year previous. As KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports, Missouri is seeing a similar rise in its exemption numbers.
The CDC says the vast majority of parents are withholding shots for non-medical reasons. All states allow exemptions for children with medical conditions, and most permit exemptions for religious reasons. In Missouri's public school kindergartens, the number of religious exemptions jumped from just over 3% to over 4% last year. In Missouri's private school kindergartens, religious exemptions went up from nearly 5% to closer to 6.5% last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Did you get the school supplies yet? Missouri's annual sales tax holiday is this weekend. Columbia Mall manager Rusty Strodeman tells Missouri Net it'll be busy.
Busier than normal because of the tax-free savings that are incurred, as well as it's just a kickoff to the back-to-school season.
He says back to school is the second busiest shopping season of the year after Christmas.
The Cardinals reflect on their trade deadline performance.
The Major League Baseball trade deadline has come and gone for the Cardinals. They make 3 moves, trading Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets, Steven Matz to the Boston Red Sox, and Phil Maton goes to the Rangers for a package of prospects. Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, content with what the team was able to get back.
When you take players to market, there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of eyes of beholder in terms of value, but overall, we felt like we were able to accomplish our goals.
This was the final Major League Baseball trade deadline for Mozeliak as he goes into retirement. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
And Joe Pott will have more on the trades in sports at 6:15.
Right now it's 6:08. We're going to take a look at traffic and weather. Stay with us.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, nobody should be complaining out there so far this morning, Megan. It's an easygoing morning. There were delays, on 64 eastbound between Winghaven and K. Roadwork was just running a smidge late, but they picked it up. They're out of there, and everything's back on the go for you. I also see that things look better now on Highway 100 through Highway T. And that's where we had, again, overnight road work in that area out around St. Albans, and things look fine there. They're still scheduled to be working till 7 a.m. eastbound 64 between 159 and Green Mountain. Not going to bother anybody, I don't think, in the mornings. The afternoons going to get backups there. They should have the westbound side already picked up for you. And like I said, everything else, even in the round-the-clock work zones like 55 at McNutt and north of Bayless, 270 at Ladue, continue to roll along. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. Hazy sunshine today. It'll be comfortable with low humidity and a high of 81. Clear to partly cloudy and cool with a low near 60 tonight. Sun will mix with some clouds for tomorrow and Sunday, but it's still going to be quite nice. We'll have a high near 80 tomorrow, the high 84 on Sunday. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, it's not a bad start to the day after our heat wave. It's 64 degrees in Florissant and St. Peter, 65 in downtown St. Louis, and the weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now, so what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Debbie, I bet you're curious if the Cardinals had any offers for their left-handed hitters.
I am very curious.
Well, I'm going to let John Mozeliak tell you just what that was like coming up in sports.
Awesome.
It is now 6:12. The news continues. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page reportedly the first person in Missouri history to be criminally charged under a law that prohibits using public money for a political cause. He faces 2 misdemeanor counts and 2 felony counts after a complaint accused him of using public funds for flyers that advocated against a ballot proposition.
Watchdog Tom Sullivan is the one who made the official complaint against the county executive, which led to the indictment. He received the campaign postcard against Prop B and noticed it said paid for by the government.
I made requests for various documents, invoices, printing, etc., and it became pretty obvious that the county was footing the bill on this, and that's when I made the complaint.
Sullivan tells KMOX he was surprised the state followed through with an indictment.
Generally speaking, these things take a while, and also in my past experience, they never really enforced to this degree, which I'm pleased to see that.
St. Louis City Mayor Kara Spencer says the indictment of County Executive Sam Page is a sad day for local government in the region.
Anytime a member who is trusted by the voters of their community to serve in a leadership capacity, and you see these types of headlines, it is unfortunate, and it does erode much needed trust in the local government.
Spencer declined to comment on the facts of the case, saying she was unfamiliar with evidence against Page.
A pandemic-era moratorium on late water bills will be lifted by St. Louis City starting September 1st. Water Commissioner Niraj Patel shares how many households are behind.
There's over 13,400 households that are behind on their bills. Varying levels of balances owed there, but that total is $12.6 million.
He says the goal is not to shut off people's water, but to get them on long-term repayment plans. The moratorium will not be lifted for those in the tornado impacted areas.
The rodeo returns to the Bush Family Farm in Defiance. Tomorrow night, there will be bulls, broncos, barrels, and classic rodeo entertainment at the home of Bush Family Brewing and Distilling. There will also be food and vendors selling Western gear. Tickets available on Eventbrite.
It is 6:15 and it's time for sports.
This update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. The Major League trade deadline here and gone yesterday evening. And after moving out relievers Ryan Helsley and Steven Matz Wednesday night, the Cardinals made one final move Thursday evening. It was announced just after the 5 p.m. Central deadline. In fact, they sent reliever Phil Maton to the Texas Rangers for a pair of minor league pitchers. Right-hander Skylar Hales and lefty Mason Molina come back to the Redbirds. Cardinals also received international pool money. In all, the Cardinals sent out 3 relievers for 6 minor league prospects. One of those prospects, infielder Blaze Jordan, who was acquired from Boston from Mats, he was assigned to AAA Memphis yesterday. Outgoing president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, met with the media last night following the completion of the deals.
Obviously, when you take players to market, there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of eyes of beholder in terms of value. But, overall, we felt like we were able to accomplish our goals. And, hopefully our fan base will see the returns of these deals in a couple of years.
He added that when it comes to players returning, sometimes it comes down to what those offers are.
Yeah, I know this is a cliche answer, but it was, just best talent available. But I will say, we were trying to focus on maybe some young starting pitching. But as you can tell, that was not really our highest level of return. And really it just came down to the potential suitors that we were speaking with. And so we tried to navigate it as best we could, but we ultimately ended up with just deciding to go with the players that we thought had the highest upside.
So the Cardinals moved only their 3 relievers that were on expiring contracts. Now, what about those left-handed hitters? We had heard there were offers for some of those left-handed hitters on the team, but ultimately they just weren't that great.
We were not motivated to move players that we had under control unless we were, to put it mildly, blown away. And we just weren't.
In one of the bigger moves yesterday, the Astros have reacquired Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins. Correa spent his first 7 years with the Astros. He won Rookie of the Year there in 2015. He won a World Series with Houston. Correa had a no-trade clause with Minnesota and said he was only willing to waive it for a return to Houston. He's going to play third base for the Astros. Cardinals return to the field tonight. They begin a 3-game series in San Diego against the Padres. They just split a 4-game series last weekend at Busch. The Cards send Matthew Liberatore to the hill tonight. Libby is 6-8. He's got a 4.04 earned run average. The Padres will counter with right-hander Nick Pivetta. He's 10-3 with a 2.81 ERA. The Cards beat Pivetta last weekend in that series at Busch Stadium. First pitch tonight is 8:40 Central. Pre-game coverage gets underway at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't fall in line or get on the bandwagon. People aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM 104.1 FM KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It's 6:20. Let's see if things are still fairly quiet out there on this Friday morning. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, things look great out there right now, Megan. It's an easygoing Friday morning. Friday mornings tend to be light, and they're doing fine right now. The road work that ran just a smidge late, picked up, and everything's back to normal on 64 coming through Winghaven. No big deal there. They actually had it picked up by about 6 this morning, so it looks good. They're still supposed to be out there till 7 a.m. this morning, eastbound 64 on the Illinois side between 159 and Green Mountain Road. That only really seems to be an issue in the afternoons. We've got pretty good backups both ways into those work zones, so I would expect that again this afternoon, but not now. 55 through McNutt and north of Bayless, 270 at Ladue both ways. Everything's still cruising along there. Again, we'll have weekend restrictions all weekend long at several locations from basically 9 tonight till 5 Monday morning. They're going to have the last weekend of road work they've had it the last 2 weekends. Eastbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge, 2 right lanes will be closed. I believe there's a weight restriction there. They're going to be shifting lanes into the new southbound medium pavement of 55 between Z and McNutt all weekend long, though that'll be happening. And eastbound 64 will be down to 1 lane between 15th Street and 25th Street as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Things are going to be much nicer for this weekend if you are tired of the sweltering heat. Today's high 81 degrees, but hazy sunshine because we do have an air quality alert in effect because of the Canadian wildfire smokes. Low near 60 overnight, and then tomorrow high near 80. Sunday's high near 84. Things heat up just a little bit. We'll be mid to upper 80s for Monday and Tuesday. Right now it's 65 degrees downtown.
The news continues at 6:21. President Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday to impose new tariffs on 68 countries and the 27-member European Union with a new deadline of August 7th.
The new levies will range from 10% to 41%, with Canada's tariffs increasing from 25 to 35%. Mexico, however, secured a 90-day extension in order to maintain the current 25% rate. The president is using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to levy those tariffs, citing fentanyl trafficking and trade deficits. Rich Johnson has more.
Just hours before the deadline expired at midnight, President Trump said he's been busy.
We have made a few deals today.
The president told reporters Thursday that does not include our largest trading partner, Canada, blaming Canada's inaction and retaliation. A White House statement says as of today, the tariffs on goods from Canada is now 35%. The other big country going into today with the deadline passage means the U.S. is now imposing a 25% tariff on imports from India. So why all the talk about this third trade agreement deadline?
It's pressuring countries to come to the table and do last-minute deals.
Frances Stacy of Scarlet Oak Financial told Fox News the process isn't over, but it may be more expensive. New higher tariffs are set to take effect in 7 days on countries without deals today. Some of the other big ones are Taiwan, Brazil, South America, and Australia. Mexico doesn't have a deal, but the talks continue, so it has received a 90-day reprieve. I'm Richard Johnson.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley responds to President Trump calling him a second-tier senator.
Well, that's not the worst thing that's been said about me.
Senator Josh Hawley appeared on Fox News Wednesday night after President Trump made clear his displeasure of him in a social media post. Hawley was the only Republican voting in favor of a bill in committee that would ban stock trading for members of Congress and the executive branch.
Listen, I had a good chat with the president earlier this evening, and he reiterated to me he wants to see a ban on stock trading by people like Nancy Pelosi and members of Congress, which is what we passed.
If the bill becomes law, called the Honest Act, it would not immediately force sitting members of Congress and the president and VP to sell off their stocks. Instead, the ban would kick in only after they begin a new term. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Hawley originally introduced the insider trading bill as the Pelosi Act, standing for preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. The former Speaker of the House has faced accusations of insider trading after her husband made several stock trades with impeccable timing. Hawley voted in favor of it when Democrats changed the name to the Honest Act. Senator Pelosi released a statement saying, "While I appreciate the creativity of my Republican colleagues in drafting legislative acronyms, I welcome any serious effort to raise ethical standards in public service. She says she'll vote in favor of the Honest Act when it hits the Senate floor.
Former President Joe Biden spoke Thursday night at the National Bar Association's annual gala in Chicago. The National Bar Association represents tens of thousands of predominantly Black American attorneys and judges. During his speech, the former president criticized President Trump, warning of what he sees as the consequence of the president's policies.
Not since those tumultuous days in the 1960s has this fight been so existential to who we are as a nation, with marginalized groups so dramatically under attack.
At the gala, the National Bar Association honored Biden with its C. Francis Stanford Award, named for one of the organization's founders.
Hearings have begun into the failures surrounding the deadly Texas flooding in early July. Local officials were the first to get scrutinized.
More than 130 people, mostly in Kerr County, were killed. At a hearing, County Emergency Management Director Dub Thomas says he was sick the day before floodwaters started rising.
I briefly woke around 2 p.m. when there was no local rainfall or indication of elevated risk and returned to rest.
Thomas says he missed 2 calls from Texas Emergency Management. Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha acknowledged being asleep as the crisis was unfolding. The top county official, Judge Rob Kelly, says he was out of town, but was alerted early in the morning.
And I don't remember if they woke me up or I woke up.
Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick expressed his frustration.
I'm not pointing a finger. I'm not blaming you. I just want to set the record straight. Everyone was here that day working their ass off, and you were nowhere to be found.
Local officials also said they needed but lacked an updated warning system. I'm Ed Donahue.
A baby born in Ohio has set a world record as the oldest baby ever born from a frozen embryo conceived more than 30 years ago. The embryo was created in 1994 by Linda Archard, who later donated her remaining embryos through an adoption process. A couple, Lindsay and Tim Pierce, adopted the embryo, and it was successfully brought to term. Since the first IVF baby was born in 1978, more than 13 million children have been born worldwide using IVF or similar technologies.
It's a compact car with a touch of style and performance. This is Jeff Gilbert with a Car Chronicles test drive. The BMW 228i Grand Coupe is full of contradictions. It's a coupe with 4 doors, a compact car that also has the spirit of a BMW. The driving experience is great. BMW let me try out the more performance-oriented M Sport trim with its 241 horsepower engine. Now, the interior was as upscale as you would expect for a BMW, but the touchscreen was a bit buggy as it kept disconnecting my phone, and I could not get used to the center console-mounted switch that they use for a shifter. So BMW's 2 Series Grand Coupe is an interesting and somewhat fun to drive entry-level luxury car, but it would only be for a very unique buyer. Let's give it 4 out of 5 stars. With a Car Chronicles test drive, I'm Jeff Gilbert, CBS News.
It is 6:27. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus, offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing, not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how to build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
At 6:30, we have hazy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there are a few more folks out on the highways, but it really doesn't look bad, Debbie and Megan. If you're on northbound 55, the right lanes are a little sluggish north of Butler Hill, ramping on to North 270. But once you get on North 270, it's clear sailing up through Gravois, 44, both directions at Ladue. Still look great out west. We're fine. Southbound 61 coming down onto eastbound 64 or 70 coming out of the Wentzville area across the Missouri River bridges. No delays there. Downtown seeing a little bit of volume on westbound 64, just approaching Route 3. Sorts itself out by the time you get to the Poplar Street bridging, and I don't see any delays in the construction zone. They should have westbound picked up, but eastbound still out there for about another 30 minutes. They're supposed to be wrapped up by 7. Eastbound 64, that's between 159 and Greenmount Road. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine today. Air quality alert in effect due to Canadian wildfire smoke. Otherwise, it'll be comfortable temperature-wise. Low humidity with a high of 81. Clear to partly cloudy. Cool tonight with an overnight low near 60. Currently, we have hazy sunshine, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The Kansas City Chiefs are evaluating 2 options before deciding on the NFL team's future home. Chiefs CEO Clark Hunt tells Missouri Net affiliate KFEQ in St. Joseph that the Kansas offer would provide financing needed to build a new stadium.
And our priority on the Missouri side has been a renovation of GHA Field at Arrowhead. So those are the 2 primary options.
Hunt says there is a sense of urgency since the Arrowhead lease expires in the spring of 2031. And it takes 4.5 to 5 years to complete a stadium project.
I think anybody who's been coming to Chiefs games for decades understands what a special stadium GHA Field at Arrowhead is. And, it's fun being here at training camp and getting to interact with our fans. And I certainly hear from them in terms of their thoughts.
Hunt says the Chiefs must make a decision that is best for the team's fans and the organization's future, and that they're intent on getting it right.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer sharing some lofty goals for the coming year. She wants to recruit 200 police officers, overhaul the Citizens Service Bureau, and make funding immediately available to expedite disaster relief. Mayor Spencer says the transition team commissioned a report with those recommendations.
Folks overwhelmingly want to continue to be part of the process as we move forward. And I think having a roadmap that we know has critical buy-in is really important.
More than 3,200 Boeing employees in the St. Louis area may strike after rejecting a contract offer from the company. A revised deal boosts pensions, keeps current overtime rules, scraps a controversial schedule plan, and adds a 50-cent hourly bonus for longtime employees. A $5,000 ratification bonus is on the table, but only if workers approve it by Sunday. A strike would halt production of fighter jets, but analysts believe it would not have a significant impact on Boeing's overall financial position because the defense business accounts for a smaller portion of the company's revenue.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report next.
This is Tom Ackerman. Enjoy your outdoor space this spring with vegetable gardens and fresh landscaping. And with St. Louis Composting, they can help you with that. Order online for delivery, or you can pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of their 9 locations. You can find those locations at stlcompost.com. At St. Louis Composting, they transform organic yard waste like branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost through a 6-month static composting process. As the largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area, they're committed to producing only the best. All of their products are STA certified, and they proudly offer compost for organic gardening and farming.
Whether you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting provides an extensive selection of STA-certified compost, soil blends, and mulches. Visit one of their 9 facilities in St. Louis, stlcompost.com.
It is 6:34. This is Total Information AM, and time to get you your money report, sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. Daimler Truck Holding is lowering its outlook for the year due to weaker sales in North America. The CEO says logistics companies have cut back on truck purchases amid a drop in shipment of tariff-hit goods like steel and aluminum. Clorox forecast coming in lower than expected. The bleach maker blaming a change in its operational software. You know how some stores list items online but don't actually have those items in stock in their stores? Well, Target says it's making progress in fixing that. The retailer says on-shelf availability for thousands of best-selling items was recently the highest it's ever been. And how loyal are you to Airbnb? Airbnb says company is considering a loyalty program along with the launch of its experiences and service business. Airbnb recently started offering more inventory of tours, travel activities, and add-on services like allowing you to hire a private chef, professional trainer, or massage therapist. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business. I'm the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in-store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Tonight, the Cards, the Padres.
Cameron Total Access 745.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
More news now at 6:38. Weddings can be stressful, especially when the bride's wedding dress doesn't get delivered. The owners of Signature Bridal in Chesterfield have been indicted on 22 counts of deceptive business practices. Megan and Scott Price charged with failing to deliver wedding dresses to 21 brides and failing to provide wedding dress preservation services to another customer.
2 large apartment buildings at Manchester and Vandeventer in the Grove have been sold by Green Street, the troubled developer that laid off most of its employees 2 years ago. Chroma and Hue have been sold to another local apartment developer, AHM Group, for just under $90 million. According to the Post-Dispatch, that deal closed last week. Green Street's success in the Grove, the Chroma opened in 2018, led the company to take on more apartment projects as well as the massive Armory project. The Armory shut down last fall.
From the KMOX archives, on August 1st, 1993, 32 years ago, the flooded Mississippi and Missouri rivers were at record levels in St. Louis after months of flooding in 9 Midwestern states. KMOX's Roger Brand described a barn he spotted as he flew over the area in a helicopter.
It's floating right out in the middle of these farm fields. It's just being dragged downstream from this farm area where it was, and it's already moved since I looked at it just a few minutes ago, probably about 50 more feet, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that was an amazing time, and it seems like we have so many floods now, it's hard to keep track of them this year. sadly.
I remember I was working up in kind of the Quincy, central Illinois area, and I remember being in a small town called Hull, Illinois, and the corn stalks, I remember it just took out cornfields, and there was only maybe about a foot of the corn stalk left upright, and the rest was just folded over, like someone had just steamrolled it. It was just, and it was like a ghost town. It was just unreal. Anybody that lived through that time.
Yeah, it was awful. I was moving to Madison, Wisconsin that year, and they had flooding as well, which I learned the hard way because the apartment we moved into was making me so sick. And when they pulled the carpets back, black mold because the apartment had flooded 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Well, we don't want to revisit those times in reality, but this has definitely been a wet and soggy spring and summer. We'll take a look at your forecast coming up in just a moment. But first, let's check in with Roger, who is not flying over anything, but he is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, no flooding concerns right now, thankfully. I guess we'll get some dry days and maybe some cool weather for the weekend. But, what was it? Just earlier this week, we had up, Winfield was getting hit in Ellsbury. So these pop-up things continue to be an issue all over the country, really. Highways right now in the immediate metro area look great for you. Both sides of the river, I don't see any issues. Even in the work zones, we're good to go. This traffic report, by the way, is the service of Sachs Financial. So 55 at McNutt, north of Bayless looks fine. 270 around Ladue, both directions. Everything's hustling along, coming out of Wentzville on southbound 61 or eastbound 64, eastbound 70. Everything good to go. Roadwork's still scheduled to be going on until 7 a.m. eastbound. It's eastbound between 159 and Greenmount. No delays in the work zone, and it looks good westbound coming across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges so far right now as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to work with a financial advisor? Are you in your 50s or early 60s and really haven't talked to anybody about how you retire? Give me a call today. Check out our website, retiresafestl.com.
It should be a pretty nice weekend compared to what we've had over the last few weeks. Let's get the update on the forecast from AccuWeather's Heather Zaire.
And we do have an air quality alert that is in effect through midnight tonight. That's due to Canadian wildfire smoke. But aside from that issue, we are looking at nice weather for the next several days. We've got hazy sunshine today, comfortable humidity levels. We'll have a high of 81, and then it's kind of cool for tonight with a few clouds around and a low near 60. Sunshine mixing with some clouds for tomorrow and Sunday. We should get better air quality back as well. High near 80 tomorrow, up to 84 on Sunday. A little bit more humidity with partly sunny skies on Monday. We'll top out at 86. Then partly sunny and humid Tuesday with a thunderstorm in some places and a high of 87. Right now it's 65 in St. Peter's, 66 in Florissant, and 68 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, it's back to business for the Cards. They open a weekend series in San Diego, and I'll tell you more straight ahead in sports.
It is 6:42. And Missouri's annual sales tax holiday is this weekend.
Columbia Mall manager Rusty Strodeman is predicting a busy weekend.
Next to Christmas, the Thanksgiving through Christmas holiday season, back to school is number 2.
This weekend, certain back-to-school purchases such as clothing, school supplies, computers, and other items as defined by the statute are exempt from sales tax. The sales tax holiday runs from 12:01 Friday morning through midnight Sunday. Sue Danielson, MissouriNet.
The planned launch of a fresh 3-man, 1-woman crew to the International Space Station on a SpaceX Crew Dragon was scrubbed Thursday because of bad weather. CBS News reporter Christopher Cruz says NASA and SpaceX will try again today.
The launch was called off because of an incoming thunderstorm.
Dragon, SpaceX, bad luck on weather there. We just got clipped by a cumulus cloud right over the pad, so ended up scrubbing for weather.
The next launch opportunity for the 4-person crew is today, just before noon Eastern Time. The crew includes Mission Commander Zena Cardman, who was originally expected to fly to the space station last fall, but was bumped after NASA ran into major problems with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
90s nostalgia is driving the market for a certain type of collectible card, as we hear from WBBM's Rob Hart.
I'm here live with the new Pokemon trading card game champion.
Adults are picking up on a kids' craze from the 90s. Pokemon cards are now big business for collectors and for auction sites like eBay. eBay credits Pokemon card collectors for driving profits in the second quarter. Stephen Fischler, CEO of ComicConnect.com and Metropolis Comics in New York, tells the Noon Business Hour that pop culture memorabilia is eclipsing the market for sports collectibles.
Cards like card sets and properties like Pokemon were eclipsing things like baseball and basketball, which is an incredible statement just by itself.
He adds kids who grew up with Pokemon in the 90s and 2000s are adults with money to spend on nostalgia.
The Illinois Gaming Board has approved new gaming licenses, including one for the state's first Racino. WBBM's Mike Krauser reports.
The combination horse racing track and casino, Fairmount Park Casino and Racing, is in Collinsville. The owners recently completed a $100 million renovation for the 100th anniversary of the track. This is the state's 17th casino. The Gaming Board also welcomed a new chairperson. Dion Hayden is the first African American to hold that position.
Matt Pauley recaps the Cardinals' day yesterday. No games, but still lots going on.
The Cardinals enjoyed an off day yesterday, but it was still an active day, with it being the day of the Major League Baseball trade deadline. The Cardinals do make one final move as they send relief pitcher Phil Maton to the Texas Rangers in exchange for minor league pitchers Skylar Hales and Mason Molina, in addition to international bonus pool space. Previously, they had traded Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets and Steven Matz to the Boston Red Sox for a collection of minor league prospects. Now the Cardinals get back at tonight as they open up a series in San Diego against the Padres, a team that they trail by 5.5 games for the final playoff spot in the National League. Pitching matchup tonight, the Cardinals will send Matthew Liberatore to the mound. He's 6-8. Nick Pivetta will go for San Diego. He comes in 10-3. 8:40 first pitch. Our coverage at 7:45. For the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, I'm Matt Pauley.
Well, as the Cardinals get back to business, 52 games remain on the regular season schedule. And John Mozeliak said yesterday this team is not giving up.
We're still planning on competing this year. Obviously, we have a lot of baseball games to play. We expect to try to win as many as possible. But, clearly we did change the look of the bullpen. Now we'll see some guys that come up from AAA, get some different opportunities, and we'll see how that looks. But our goal is still the same. We're going to try to win games.
One of the guys the team will lean on over those final 52 games is outfielder Jordan Walker, and he's been hot since returning from the injured list after the All-Star break. In 13 games since the break, Walker is hitting .304. He's 20 of 46 with 6 doubles, and he's got an OPS of .808. Who's Hot is sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Order online for delivery or pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of our 9 locations. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. The Cards' opponent this weekend, the Padres, especially active around and at the deadline. Earlier in the day yesterday, the Padres made a deal for Athletics closer Mason Miller. Miller's 26 years old, and he's still under team control through 2029. They also acquired starter J.P. Sears in the same deal. It cost them their top prospect, infielder Leo DeVries. Later in the day, San Diego acquired first baseman Ryan O'Hearn and outfielder Ramon Laureano from Baltimore. Those two have combined for 28 homers and 89 RBIs this season. Cards and Padres get it going tonight. 8:40 is the first pitch in San Diego. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Limburg Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood-Reich. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Limburg, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events. fans.
When it comes to baseball in St. Louis, there's one station that's all in. KMOX. At noon, it's the Gas House Game.
Let's talk some baseball.
Smart, unfiltered conversation with real baseball minds. At 5, the Redbird Rush Hour delivers sharp insight, fresh takes, and the latest from inside the clubhouse.
Now the pitch.
And when it's game time, we bring you every single pitch, all season long.
It's a gunner!
Others talk sports. We live Cardinals baseball. 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news. At 9, the talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50. We need to get you updated on your ride into work on this Friday morning. Roger Brand has more for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a great run out there this morning, Megan. I mean, it's getting busier, but not enough to be any significant delays or slowdowns. I'm not seeing anything as I look around the area right now, so we're good to go on 55 on McNutt. They just cleared a stall at the Richardson on-ramp, but again, it wasn't really blocking that I could tell anyway. And it looks good north of Bayless on 55, 270, both directions through Ladue. You're good to go. Southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70 from there coming out of St. Charles County, no delays. Eastbound 64, I think they may still have road work going on. It's scheduled to be till 7 a.m., but again, it's not causing a problem. Eastbound between 159 and Greenmount, westbound through there, it's just fine. And it's cruising across the Poplar and Musel Veterans Bridges as well. Starting next week, they'll have restrictions both ways between Greenmount and 158, so they're extending construction zones. And they'll only have it in opposite direction during the rush hour. So during peak times, it'll be on the morning drive, it'll only be eastbound, and in the afternoon drive, it'll only be westbound to help you out. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
We do have an air quality alert in effect through midnight because of the Canadian wildfire smoke. And it does seem a bit hazy outside right now, but we do have sunshine and a high today of 81 degrees, 60 overnight. Tomorrow, our high 80, Sunday 84. Right now it's 65 degrees.
And the news continues now at 6:51. Boeing makes a new contract offer to Machinists Local 837, calling it the richest deal ever proposed to the St. Louis Union. KMOX's Michael Calhoun has the latest.
This updated offer boosts the pension multiplier in year one, retains current overtime policies, removes a controversial workweek schedule plan, adds a 50-cent per hour annual attendance bonus, and there's a $5,000 ratification bonus on the table. But if members vote to approve the deal on Sunday night, the stakes on this are high. The contract covers about 3,200 workers who build military aircraft like the F-15, FA-18 Super Hornet, T-7 trainer jet, and MQ-25 refueling drone at Boeing's St. Louis area facilities. Union members previously rejected the first initial proposal. They'll take another vote on this new submission on Sunday, beginning at 10 a.m. Central. If they say no, a strike could begin that night at midnight.
2 Missouri state lawmakers are suing over the Chiefs Royals Stadium incentive package passed by the legislature in special session in June. State Senator Mike Moon and State Representative Bryant Wolfen are joined in the suit by longtime activist Ron Calzone, who has successfully sued over legislation in the past. Moon did not like the bill during the special session, calling it unconstitutional and saying Governor Kehoe let his ambition to keep the 2 teams in Missouri cloud his judgment. Moon claims this suit is about getting guidance from the court over what can be in a single bill because he says this one combines widely different and unrelated subjects.
Bold changes are needed to improve St. Louis. That's according to a new report given to the mayor.
Mayor Kara Spencer's Transition Committee compiled the 62-page report, which proposes changes in the short term, like a recruiting blitz to hire 200 new police officers in a year, and forming a partnership with the city's continuum of care to address the homeless population. Mayor Kara Spencer also appreciates the depth of the report, which included pitfalls to avoid.
The report identified things that we can and should be doing. They also identified cautions and things and recognitions of things of processes that make that difficult.
Spencer was also happy to see short-term and long-term recommendations for how to recover from May's tornado included. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Nationally, just over 4% of kindergarten students were exempt from vaccine requirements in 2024. That's up from about 3% the year before. As KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports, Missouri is seeing a similar rise in its exemption numbers.
The CDC says the vast majority of parents are withholding shots for non-medical reasons. All states allow exemptions for children with medical conditions, and most permit exemptions for religious reasons. In Missouri's public school kindergartens, the number of religious exemptions jumped from just over 3% to over 4% last year. In Missouri's private school kindergartens, religious exemptions went up from nearly 5% to closer to 6.5% last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
And today's KMOX birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Looking at some celebrity birthdays for this Friday, August 1st. This one takes me back to high school. That is Def Leppard's lead singer Joe Elliott. He is 66 years old today. Other birthdays include actor Jason Momoa, he's 46, and actor James Francis Kelly, 36.
Local celebrity birthdays include a happy 7th to Bo Spring from Poppy and Bema. Also, happy 88th to Paul Mackin. Happy 79th birthday to Sherry Shields of Belleville. John Darby III of Chesterfield is celebrating. Also, happy birthday wishes to Danielle Martin, Jasmine Huda, Aaron Bodie, and tomorrow I am in advance wishing a very happy 16th birthday to my son, Beck.
This is the best birthday ever.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Marcia talks about her experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Hi, my name's Marcia, and I had a great experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. My sister, who lives in Logan, had them do her kitchen, and after I saw the quality, I realized it was exactly what I wanted. I guess one of the things I really liked is that when I came back, I just couldn't believe how it totally changed, and everything was all cleaned up, and it looked so great. All my neighbors want to come over and see it. I had a lot of unique features that I wanted as far as the fixtures go, and Dave was able to find those things, and that made all the difference. It was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it, and I would recommend it to anyone.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Let's see how things are moving on the roads for you. Roger Brand has the latest update from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, nobody's complaining about anything so far, Megan. If you're heading out and getting on the roadways around the area, we look great so far this morning. Usually the first place to see delays is 55, but it still looks good coming through Butler Hill up to 270 in the right lanes. North of Bayless through River to Pears, fine 270 around Ladue. No delays northbound or southbound through there. In fact, North 270 from 55 to that point's wide open. Coming off 61 down to 64 or 70. It looks great coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges. Downtown, the Poplar Mutual Veterans bridges are lighting on the go for you as well. Work should be getting wrapped up if it hasn't been already. I just can't see it. Eastbound 64 between 159 and Greenmount Road. They're going to be starting work next week between 158 and Green Mountain. Both directions. They'll have it open for the rush hours, so that means it'll be open westbound in the mornings and eastbound in the evenings, but that'll be a long-term project into 2027. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, the 1st of August. I'm Debbie Monterey.
Boeing makes its final offer. Thousands of jobs and jets hang in the balance. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Sean Malone. Are you behind on your water bill in St. Louis City? Well, the pandemic-era moratorium is about to be lifted. I've got that story coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer. Hazy sunshine today with low humidity, high 81.
I'm Joe Pott. The Cardinals moved 3 relievers yesterday, but were there any offers on any other players? We'll tell you that answer coming up in sports.
President Trump signs an executive order unveiling sweeping new tariff plans just hours before his self-imposed deadline.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A surprise new round of tariffs from President Trump of up to 50% for nations around the world, including some that had already settled up on existing agreements set to kick in today. Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
The president's new tariffs will soon apply to goods from all of America's largest trading partners. A 20% tax on Taiwan, 50% for Brazil, and 15% for Japan, one of 6 countries that cut deals in advance.
Impact here in the U.S., business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
We've already started to see the beginning stages of price increases from lots of different imported goods, everything from electronics to computers to cars and trucks. That will likely get worse. But tariffs do take a long time to work their way through the economy.
Deadly flooding has swept the Northeast. Among the victims, a 13-year-old boy who was sucked into a sewage drain pipe in Mount Airy, Maryland. Chadwick Colson lives nearby.
It's a tragedy. There's some mother and some father who don't have a kid.
Drivers were rescued on flooded roads throughout the region, including New York City, where a semi-driver had to swim out of his truck to safety. Kerr County, Texas Emergency Management's coordinator has explained his absence at the start of July 4th flooding that killed more than 100 people in his county, including a group of summer campers and counselors. Speaking at an all-day public hearing, William Thomas said he was sick and asleep when the water started to rise.
There was no visible flooding on my drive into the office, but it quickly became clear that the situation was escalating.
We've learned details of a deadly stabbing at a state park in Arkansas after 28-year-old teacher Andrew McGann confessed to killing 2 hikers as their young children waited nearby. Correspondent Omar Villafranca.
Investigators say McGann stabbed Clinton Brink first, and his wife rushed their daughters, ages 7 and 9, to safety. When she returned to help him, she was also stabbed to death.
They absolutely protected those girls to their fullest extent.
McGann was arrested Wednesday while he was getting a haircut. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder. The Labor Department releases the July jobs report this hour, and tech jobs may be the standout. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Tech giants like Google, Meta, OpenAI, and Microsoft have been poaching employees from one another and from successful AI startups. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg recently hired a 24-year-old AI researcher for $250 million over 4 years, after that candidate had rejected a $125 million offer.
Dow futures down 391. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got some hazy sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It is 66 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Megan Lynch. Boeing rolls out what it describes as its last, best, and final offer to union members who will vote on it Sunday.
Dan Gillian, Boeing's Air Dominance VP and senior St. Louis site executive, calls it the richest deal ever proposed to Machinists Local 837. This involves about 3,200 local workers who build military aircraft like the F-15 and T-7 trainer. The revised deal boosts pensions, keeps current overtime rules, scraps a controversial schedule plan, and adds a 50-cent hourly bonus for longtime employees. A $5,000 ratification bonus is also on the table, but only if workers approve the deal by Sunday. The union previously rejected Boeing's first offer. The machinists said that offer fell short of addressing the priorities and sacrifices of its skilled workforce. If there is no deal, a strike could begin just after midnight on August 4th. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A new report to the mayor calls for bold action to revitalize St. Louis.
Did you read it? I am really excited about it.
The report from Mayor Kara Spencer's Transition Committee lays out short-term and long-term changes to improve the city in 6 key areas. Amongst those 6 include rebuilding the local economy, improving city services, and enhancing public safety. Mayor Spencer shares an area of the report her administration is focusing on already.
We're really honing in on some of the accountability in city services, the data, warehousing, the sort of really looking at the time that it takes to deliver a pothole being filled.
Some of the bolder short-term proposals include a recruiting blitz to bring on 200 new police officers and 30 new dispatchers, expediting development plans, and launching a downtown activation campaign to boost morale and foot traffic. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis City residents will have their water shut off if they don't pay their bills starting September 1st. There have been no water shut-offs since the pandemic. City leaders said Thursday that nearly a quarter of bills aren't getting paid, leading to a balance of more than $10 million. The city plans to help residents who haven't been paying in the coming weeks, but warns shutoffs will begin.
In the last decade, the percentage of kindergartners with medical vaccination exemptions has held steady at about 0.2 of a percentage point. But the percentage with religious exemptions keeps rising. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer explains where exemptions stand in Missouri.
Nationally, just about 4% of children got religious vaccine exemptions last year, up from about 3% the year before. Missouri's public school kindergartens saw about the same numbers, but in the state's private schools, religious exemptions saw a bigger jump from about 4.8% 2 years ago to about 6.5% last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Who do the Cardinals look like post-trade deadline?
The Cardinals were expected to move relief pitchers Ryan Helsley, Steven Matz, and Phil Maton, and they did just that. They did not move on from any position players, as President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak was not overwhelmed by any of the offers he got for those position players that might have been available.
We were not motivated to move players that we had under control unless we were, to put it mildly, blown away. And we just weren't.
The Cardinals will need to make a number of moves, bringing pitchers up from AAA Memphis before they resume their season Friday night in San Diego. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Missouri's annual sales tax holiday is this weekend. Columbia Mall manager Rusty Strodeman tells MissouriNet he's predicting good crowds of back-to-school shoppers.
It's a big deal. We see a lot of people from outside of the immediate Boone County market will come in for the tax-free weekend. Maybe they've kind of saved up for this weekend, knowing they're going to save some more tax-free items, and they'll make a drive over. So it's a big weekend for us.
The sales tax holiday begins at 12:01 a.m. So I guess it's already underway as we speak. So start shopping, and it ends at midnight Sunday.
We'll check traffic and weather together in 2 minutes. It's 7:08.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us is one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040. 800-408-4040.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
When we started Neovitin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10, and welcome to the 1st of August. Let's get our report on the roadways for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Here's Roger Brand.
Well, they're in great shape, Debbie, out around the area. I don't see any real delays. Well, there's one slowdown right now, just a little slow. There's just more volume moving through the area. But, the left lane is closed. Only the right lane's open for road work westbound 64 between K and Winghaven. So west of K, it's just sort of bogged down a little bit running through there. But other than that, the rest of these area highways are light and on the go for you on both sides of the river. Starting tomorrow, I mentioned a little bit at the top of the hour, a long-term project. They're going to have daily restrictions on 64 between Greenmount and 158. Traffic reduced to 2 lanes each way. Now, the westbound lanes will be open from 6 to 9 a.m. Like I said, eastbound lanes will be open 3 to 6 p.m. during the heart of the rush hours on the weekdays. But that project's going to go through summer of 2027. So about a year from now is when they anticipate wrapping that one up. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
An air quality alert is in effect through midnight tonight due to Canadian wildfire smoke. We'll have hazy sun with low humidity and a high of 81. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. A cool night with a low near 60. Sun and some clouds for tomorrow and Sunday. High 80 tomorrow. The high on Sunday will be 84. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Do have sunshine, 66 degrees now downtown at the Arch.
I'll tell you who the Cardinals are banking on as they get started to play a series with the Padres coming up this weekend.
It is 7:12. Renovate or build new? That's the decision before the Kansas City Chiefs as team executives consider proposals from both Missouri and Kansas to offset the cost of either renovating Arrowhead Stadium or building a new home. Chief CEO Clark Hunt tells MissouriNet affiliate KFEQ in St. Joseph the team has made a lot of progress evaluating 2 really good options.
I don't want to get into how close we are to making a decision because I found over time with stadium situations that until they're done, they're not done. There's a lot of work, a lot of moving parts, and we're working through those. Certainly, I would say we feel an urgency to bringing the process to a conclusion, but that doesn't mean I can will it to happen in any specified period of time.
The current lease on Arrowhead expires in the spring of 2031.
Compared to other states, nursing homes in Illinois are ranked at the bottom for quality of care in the latest comparison by U.S. News & World Report. Kelly Richards, Illinois State Long-Term Care Ombudsman, says staffing is a key issue.
Wait times are issues, food. Getting their food timely, getting their medicines passed to them. When you have low staffing, all of these things are impacted.
Richard says nursing home jobs are demanding and difficult and come with low salaries. She points out facilities committed to investing in those employees typically have higher quality of care.
Illinois becoming the first state to implement universal mental health screenings for students after legislation signed by Governor Pritzker yesterday. We get more from WBBM's Terry Keshner.
Governor Pritzker was in Evanston to sign Illinois Senate Bill 1560 into law.
Annual screenings will be available for all Illinois students in grades 3 through 12. This is a national first that's worth celebrating about the state of Illinois.
The mental health screenings for students must be available at least once a year, beginning with the 2027-2028 school year. Illinois State Senator Laura Fine.
So today we are reaching out to every Illinois student who has ever felt unseen, unheard, isolated, or is silently battling emotional distress. Senate Bill 1560 is a declaration that our children's mental health matters as much as their physical well-being.
2 large apartment buildings at Manchester and Vandeventer in the Grove have been sold by Green Street, the troubled developer that laid off most of its employees 2 years ago. Chroma and Hugh have been sold to another local apartment developer, AHM Group, for just under $90 million. According to the Post-Dispatch, that deal closed last week. Green Street's success in the Grove led the company to take on more apartment projects, as well as the massive Armory project. The Armory shut down last fall.
The Cardinals return to the field tonight. They'll begin a 3-game series in San Diego against the Padres, and they're going to send left-hander Matthew Liberatore to the mound. Libby is 6-8 with a 4.04 earned run average. He worked 4 1/3 innings Saturday against the Padres, allowed 1 earned run and struck out 3, and he is our player to bank on. Sponsored by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. The Padres will counter with right-hander Nick Pivetta. He's 10-3. With a 2.81 ERA, the Cardinals beat Pivetta last weekend at Busch Stadium. First pitch tonight is 8:40 Central Time. Pre-game coverage here on KMOX gets underway at 7:45. Well, yesterday, the Major League trade deadline came and went. And after moving out relievers Ryan Helsley and Steven Matz Wednesday night, the Cardinals made one final move Thursday evening, announced just after the 5 p.m. trade deadline. They sent reliever Phil Maton to the Texas Rangers for a pair of minor league pitchers. Right-hander Skylar Hales and lefty Mason Molina come back to the Redbirds. They also receive international pool money. In all, the Cards sent out 3 relievers for 6 minor league prospects. One of those prospects, infielder Blaze Jordan, who was acquired from Boston for Mats, he was assigned to AAA Memphis yesterday. Outgoing president of baseball operations John Mozeliak met with the media last night to talk about the deadline deals.
Obviously, when you take players to market, there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of eyes of beholder in terms of value. But, overall, we felt like we were able to accomplish our goals. And, hopefully our fan base will see the returns of these deals in a couple of years.
He also talked about what went into analyzing those players coming back to the Cards.
Yeah, I know this is a cliche answer, but it was, just best talent available. But I will say, we were trying to focus on maybe some young starting pitching. But as you can tell, that was not really our highest level of return. And really it just came down to the potential suitors that we were speaking with. And so we tried to navigate it as best we could, but we ultimately ended up with just deciding to go with the players that we thought had the highest upside.
Mo said that while there was some interest in the team's left-handed hitters specifically, the offers just weren't what the Cardinals expected.
We were not motivated to move players that we had under control unless we were, to put it mildly, blown away, and we just weren't.
In one of the bigger moves yesterday, the Astros have reacquired Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins. Correa spent the first 7 years of his career with the Astros. He won the Rookie of the Year in 2015 as an Astro and won a World Series with Houston. Correa had a full no-trade clause from Minnesota, said he was only willing to waive that for a return to the Astros. He'll play third base for the Astros. Next sports update comes up at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20. Let's see how the morning is going for you out there on the roads. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it couldn't be much better, Megan. Weather and traffic-wise, this traffic report's a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. I just don't see any delays on the highways to speak of. In fact, that little bit of a slowdown we had westbound 64 west of K in that work zone, that has dissipated. So things are looking better for you there. Of course, they've been doing road work there every day, and it's still, the left lane is still closed through there. Just the volume was a little busier 10 minutes ago, and now it's not. So that's the only issue we've had in that, and it's already gone. So we're looking good right now. We're getting close to the heart of the rush hour in another 20 minutes, but no signs of anything really going to be causing any big problems for you. I don't think even by that time. So you're good to go. Of course, we still have, the semi-permanent closures, like the ramp from eastbound 270 to south 170 remains closed. McDonald Boulevard east of Lindbergh over there at the north side of the Boeing Company plant, that's still closed for long-term road work. And 160 between Trenton and New Baden remains closed. Although they opened earlier this week, they opened Route 4 North 11. It's one of those closures was removed, but that other one, 160, is still out there. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Taking a look at the forecast, I think you'll like this one. Today's high, 81 degrees. Hazy sunshine, low humidity, and 81. You will also notice, which we can see out the windows of Studio B right now, some hazy sunshine, air quality alert in effect. Canadian wildfire smoke is the culprit there. 60 degrees or so overnight, and then tomorrow a high near 80. Sunday's high 84. Right now in downtown St. Louis, it's sunny, 66 degrees, and the weather is sponsored by Spire, your natural gas provider. Spire has a fresh new look coming your way. They're updating their envelope color from orange to white in August. Be on the lookout for your Spire natural gas bill arriving in a fresh white envelope.
The news continues at 7:22. St. Louis police shot and killed a carjacking suspect. Department spokesman Mitch McCoy.
When you pull an innocent person out of their car and you rip them out and you put a gun in their face, you don't care about that human being.
The carjacking happened at Blair and Palm. The victim visiting from out of town was yanked out of the car and a gun pointed at their face. A detective spotted the car midday. A man with a gun ran away from the vehicle. Detectives told him to drop it. He didn't. They fired shots. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Police did not identify him.
A St. Louis man is facing charges after stealing more than $13,000 in merchandise from the Brentwood Home Depot. Prosecutors say Jeremy Denzel Booker used fake price tags and selective self-checkout scanning in dozens of small transactions between December and July. He was cited in May, but continued stealing. Booker, who has a prior theft conviction, is now being held on $25,000 bond.
Police have arrested a suspect in the double killing of a couple in an Arkansas state park. 28-year-old Andrew McGann faces 2 counts of capital murder. He's accused of killing Clinton and Kristen Brink while they were on a hike with their 2 young daughters last weekend. CBS's Omar Villafranca has more details from where the suspect was arrested at a barber shop in Springdale, Arkansas.
Now, we talked to the woman who was cutting his hair. She said he walked in, he was quiet, he was reserved, didn't want to sign his name down when they told him to do that. She said he was quiet when she sat down and asked him what kind of haircut he wanted. Finally told her, didn't ask for anything drastic, just a trim. When she put the cape on him, she said a few minutes later, that's when a plainclothes officer peeked his head in and asked whose car was this outside. It was a black Kia. And he finally responded it was his. And that's when the officer came in plainclothes and said, I'd like to talk to you over here. More officers came in and they arrested him.
A 13-year-old boy was killed in yesterday's rough weather in the east when he was pulled by rushing water from the downpours into a drainage pipe in Mount Airy, Maryland, outside of Baltimore. Reaction from this resident.
It's a tragedy. There's some mother and some father don't have a kid.
Failed leadership in the response to one of the deadliest floods in Texas history becoming evident as state lawmakers are in Kerrville, Texas, questioning regional leaders.
William Thomas is the emergency management coordinator for Kerr County. He told Texas state lawmakers at the time of the flooding he was sick in bed.
I was awakened around 5:30 a.m. on July the 4th by my wife, following a call from the city of Kerrville EMC requesting that I mobilize.
By that time, Camp Mystic was already underwater. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick also called out Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly for his immediate response.
I don't know where you were on day one on July 4th, but you should have been here. You should have been here directing that response.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
About 192,000 KidCraft farm-to-table play kitchens are being recalled because of a strangulation hazard.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission says Backyard Kids has recalled the play kitchens after learning that if young children are climbing on the counter or crawling through the opening at the back of the play kitchen, their clothing can get caught on the plastic or metal hooks meant to hold toy kitchen accessories such as play pots and pans, posing a strangulation hazard. You should immediately stop letting children use the play kitchens, remove the original hooks, and contact Backyard Kids for free replacement hooks. Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
Animal shelters reporting they're seeing a number of dogs being put up for rescue because their owners have been deported or detained by the Trump administration on immigrated-related issues.
Amy Cahill runs Canine Rescue outside Washington, D.C. Her small nonprofit has rescued more than 24 dogs since the Trump administration immigration crackdown began.
In many cases, it's a financial issue, and in some cases, it's just a time issue. They're working really hard to try to help a family member.
Cahill says the dogs she's rescued are in excellent health and just need a permanent, loving home, like the one they had before the owner was deported or arrested. Dan Ronan for CBS News, Washington.
Just 2 days after the Federal Reserve left its benchmark short-term interest rate unchanged, the Labor Department set to reveal its July jobs report. Bill Watts is the markets editor for MarketWatch.
So we've seen demand for labor fall, but we've also seen the supply of labor decline as a result of the immigration crackdown. So I think people are really looking at the unemployment rate. And in fact, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, when he spoke Wednesday, said it is the unemployment rate that will be the thing that the Fed pays attention to.
KMOX should have that jobs report information for you within the next 10 minutes or so.
It's now 7:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the Guru take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home. 2 gig upload, 2 gig download, mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Alton's got soul. From river legends and limestone bluffs to downtown diners and haunted histories. And now, Alton's voice is louder than ever.
What a treasure it is to have like an actual like river resort town that close to us.
KMOX is now on 104.1 FM. From the riverfront to the rooftops, you're always in range. 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of Alton, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 7:30 and we've got sunshine. 66 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Megan Lynch. And let's check the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's a little more volume on the highways, Megan and Debbie, but it still looks great on a Friday morning. Great weather and traffic's not bad at all. Westbound 64 is seeing a little slowdown in that work zone between K and Wing Haven. Not much to speak of there. Eastbound 70 looks a little busy between 370 and Cave Springs. A little volume finally on 270 southbound, south of Olive, approaching Ladue is a little slow. Northbound at Doherty Ferry, midway up to Manchester, and north of Manchester up through Clayton Road. Again, just some heavier traffic, primarily the right lanes running through there. Northbound 67 approaching Double C, a little volume waiting at the lights. Downtown, we're still wide open westbound, 55, 70, 64. No delays across the Poplar or Musial Veterans Bridges so far this morning. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We do have an air quality alert in effect, so it's going to be hazy because of the Canadian wildfire smoke, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, we do have sunshine, hazy sunshine right now. Low humidity, our high today, 81 degrees. Tomorrow's high near 80. It's 66 out there right now.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, reportedly the first person in Missouri history to be criminally charged under a law that prohibits using public money for a political cause. He faces 2 misdemeanor counts and 2 felony counts after a complaint accused him of using public funds for flyers that advocated against a ballot proposition.
I am pleased that finally they are enforcing the law and that Sam Page is being held accountable.
That's government watchdog Tom Sullivan speaking to KMOX after the indictment of Page. He was the one who originally submitted the complaint with the state about Page sending out a campaign mailer using county funds.
Like I said, I'm glad that the law is being enforced, but I don't think this is anything to be happy about. This is the second county executive in a row that's been indicted, and that is certainly doesn't reflect well for the county, and one way or the other, this needs to get resolved.
Mayor Kara Spencer gives her thoughts on St. Louis County Executive Sam Page being indicted.
It's a sad day, certainly. I was certainly sad to read that. It breaks down much needed trust in municipal government.
Spencer declined to comment on the merits of the case, citing lack of knowledge of details. Page was indicted for a piece of mail paid for by taxpayer dollars that advocated against Proposition B.
St. Louis City will lift the pandemic-era moratorium on overdue water bills starting September 1st.
St. Louis City Water Commissioner Niraj Patel says there are 13,400 households that are behind on their water bill right now, with an average of $940 per household. He says their goal is not to shut off people's water, but to get them on repayment programs so they can begin to start making good on their bills.
For them to get in contact with us, for us to work with them on their specific issues, and then provide ample notice, with all of these assistance routes that we have available.
Patel says the moratorium will not be lifted for those in tornado-impacted areas. In City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
This news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We got your money report next. It's 7:33.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start August 13th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SCHEV.
It's now 7:34. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey along with Megan Lynch. Denise Pellegrini has our Bloomberg report for you. It's sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
Good morning. New tariffs coming on imports from many countries. They go into effect August 7 with tariff rates between 10 and 40%, an average rate of about 15%. And this means tariffs on imports to the U.S. will be about 6 times higher than a year ago, and some of the steepest tariffs since the 1930s. Not clear yet what the impact will be on inflation and how much, if at all, this will slow economic growth for some countries. Daimler Truck Holding lowering its outlook for the year due to weaker sales in the U.S. That's as logistics companies cut back on truck purchases amid a drop in shipments of tariff-hit goods such as steel and aluminum. And in case you missed it, Oreos and Reese's are finally teaming up after years of fans practically begging them to do something like this. They finally are, blending their iconic flavors with the Reese's Oreo Cup and the Oreo Reese's Cookie. The hard launch for both those products is the beginning of September, according to their post on Insta. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hello, I'm Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malik. August 14th is National Able Savings Day, a time to highlight how ABLE accounts empower individuals with disabilities. Our More ABLE program helps Missourians save for everyday needs without losing public benefits. To celebrate, we are offering a $25 match for anyone who opens a new account in August. Earnings grow tax-free and contributions qualify for a state tax reduction. Let's help more Missourians build financial independence. Learn more at moable.com.
Paid for by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Cards manager Ollie Marmol joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Seichmann Cancer Center on the Voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
CBS News special report. We've gotten a brand new read on the jobs market, and it is slowing down to a crawl. The Commerce Department says employees added just 73,000 positions in July. 73,000, even less than the 100 to 120 100,000 many analysts were expecting. It compares to 147,000 jobs added in June. Most gains were in healthcare, social assistance, with losses in federal government positions. There are standouts. Economist Diane Swank.
The only outlier has been in the tech sector, where they are doing layoffs, but the war on AI talent has caused a bidding war where, some people are getting a lot of money that is pushing up wages in that one sector very rapidly.
Unemployment for July up to 4.2% from 4.1 in June. Again, jobs added last month, just 73,000. CBS News special report. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Warren Buffett has predicted for years that Social Security's headed for trouble. New research says the trouble is coming soon. I'm Jeff Colvin of Fortune magazine with the Fortune Business Update. In just 7 years, Social Security won't be able to pay what it has promised to retirees. So says a new analysis by the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a bipartisan and widely trusted think tank. Law dictates that payments must be limited to the money coming in from payroll taxes, and sometime near the end of 2032, there won't be enough coming in. A typical retiree will suddenly get $18,000 less per year. Buffett thinks Washington should raise taxes on wealthy people like him and should slowly increase the retirement age. Any solution will be up to Congress, and the longer they wait, the more painful the solution will be. I'm Jeff Colvin.
It's 7:40. Let's see how things are moving on this Friday morning. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How's it look, Roger?
Well, it's looking great, Megan. I mean, this is the peak of the rush hour. Usually every day, 7:40 is our busiest time of the morning commute. And right now, it's not bad at all. I just see a couple of slowdowns on northbound 270. The right lane's north of Manchester, headed up toward Clayton Road, a little busy. And again, I've been talking about the road work going on westbound 64 between K and Winghaven. There's a slowdown at K, not even really midway to Winghaven, and it opens up, but that left lane's closed, so only the right lane is open through that area. But otherwise, the rest of these interstates on both sides of the river, I'm not seeing any delays or slowdowns. We do have one new injury crash out in Ellisville. It's out in front of Andy's Frozen Custard, so that's Manchester, just to the west of Rinky Road a little bit. So just watch for restrictions in the area there. I don't see any real serious delays through that stretch right now. I do see a little bit of a heavy stretch right around West Glen Farms out to the west of you there on Highway 100. But that is the worst of it right now. Again, don't forget, we're going to have weekend restrictions around the area. The last weekend of road work going on eastbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge, but the two right lanes closed there. There's going to be restrictions on southbound 55 between Z and McNutt. They're going to do a lane shift over the weekend, and eastbound 64 is going to be down to one lane between 15th and 25th Streets in Metro East. All that work pretty much 9 tonight till 5 Monday morning. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, it is 7:41, and as promised, hazy sunshine. It's going to just be like that because of the Canadian wildfires. Let's find out what's in store for us this weekend. Our AccuWeather meteorologist, Heather Zaire, is here.
And not only can that provide some haziness to the sky, it's also going to lead to some reduced air quality. And we do have an air quality alert that's in effect through midnight tonight because of that Canadian wildfire smoke. The haze is going to be a little more persistent than the poor air quality. That's going to be around all day. Otherwise, it's sunny and comfortable with low humidity and a high of 81. Tonight, then, just a few clouds around, mostly during the second half of the night. It'll be cool with a low near 60, and then we'll have sun and some clouds. Should be less haze and better air quality for both days of the weekend. We'll have a high near 80 tomorrow, then 84 on Sunday. Continuing to warm up and even getting a little more humid on Monday. Partly sunny skies with a high of 86, and then partly sunny and humid with a spotty thunderstorm and a high of 87 on Tuesday. Right now it's 65 in St. Peters, 66 in Florissant, and 68 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cardinals are back in business tonight after being in business at the trade deadline. I've got all those details straight ahead in sports.
And the news continues now at 7:43. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley speaking out after a tongue lashing from President Trump.
Mr. Trump went to social media calling Senator Josh Hawley a second-tier senator. This comes after Hawley was the lone Republican voting in favor of a bill that passed in committee banning stock trading and certain investments by members of Congress, the president and vice president. However, the ban would not go into effect until those politicians win a new term in office, something President Trump cannot do because he's limited to only 2 terms by the Constitution. Hawley tells Fox News.
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted.
The Honest Act now heads to the full Senate. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Senator Hawley originally introduced the insider trading bill as the Pelosi Act, which stood for preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. The former Speaker of the House had faced accusations of insider trading after her husband made several stock trades with impeccable timing. Hawley still voted in favor of it, though, when Democrats changed the name to the Honest Act. Pelosi released a statement saying, "While I appreciate the creativity of my Republican colleagues in drafting legislative acronyms, I welcome any serious effort to raise ethical standards in public service." She says she'll vote in favor of the Honest Act when it hits the Senate floor.
Data sharing. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. President Trump has announced a new health data sharing initiative that will make it easier for patients, doctors, and healthcare facilities to have access to medical records. Fox News medical contributor Dr. Nicole Saphier.
President Trump is correct. When it comes to our healthcare system, it is very clunky. A lot of the information is siloed. As patients, it's very frustrating to try and access your data if you want to go from one institution to the next. Unless you're part of a big healthcare institution with the same electronic medical record, sometimes it can be very difficult for patients. So this collaboration between the federal government and big tech does seem like this could be a wonderful thing. Now, here's some concerns I do have about this, Aisha. When it comes to patient health data, this is very private, and I get very concerned about cybersecurity issues. We have breaches in healthcare systems all the time. So will CMS be able to keep healthcare data safe? What about government overreach? CMS already has access to 140 million American data because of the people who are enrolled in Medicare and Medicaid. This would give them access to any American who says that they can have the release of their healthcare information. And thirdly, I will say that there may be some potential conflicts of interest in some of the RFK Jr. circle when it comes to this initiative.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Matt Pauley recaps the Cardinals yesterday.
The Cardinals enjoyed an off day yesterday, but it was still an active day, with it being the day of the Major League Baseball trade deadline. The Cardinals do make one final move as they send relief pitcher Phil Maton to the Texas Rangers in exchange for minor league pitchers Skylar Hales and Mason Molina, in addition to international bonus pool space. Previously, they had traded Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets and Steven Matz to the Boston Red Sox for a collection of minor league prospects. Now the Cardinals get back at tonight as they open up a series in San Diego against the Padres, a team that they trail by 5.5 games for the final playoff spot in the National League. Pitching matchup tonight, the Cardinals will send Matthew Liberatore to the mound. He's 6-8. Nick Pivetta will go for San Diego. He comes in 10-3. 8:40 first pitch. Our coverage at 7:45. For the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, I'm Matt Pauley.
Well, as the Cardinals get back to business, 52 games remain on the regular season schedule, and John Mozeliak said yesterday the team's not giving up.
We're still planning on competing this year. Obviously, we have a lot of baseball games to play. We expect to try to win as many as possible, but clearly we did change the look of the bullpen. Now we'll see some guys that come up from AAA, get some different opportunities, and we'll see how that looks. But our goal is still the same. We're going to try to win games.
This weekend, the Cards will face the Padres. They were among the most active teams at and around the deadline. They pick up Mason Miller, closer from the Athletics. He's 26 years old. He's under team control through the 2029 season. They also acquired starter J.P. Sears in the same deal, but it cost him their top prospect, infielder Leo DeVries. Later in the day, San Diego acquired Ryan O'Hearn and outfielder Ramon Laureano, both from Baltimore. Those two have combined for 28 homers and 89 RBIs this year. Astros, Mariners also busy. Carlos Correa going back to the Astros. Eugenio Suarez going back to the Mariners. Lots to do. Lots of new faces in the second half of the baseball season. Cards and Padres tonight at 8:40. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Head to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Lindbergh Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood-Wright. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Lindbergh, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? And who's talking about it now on KMOX? Bernie Miklasz.
The trends are just so bad and so ominous. It's just hard for me to see this team recovering to get into a wild card spot. They would need a lot of failures by other teams to even have a shot.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's been a bad morning out there on the roads, but let's get an update now from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's been a great morning, Megan. Very light, on the go, light, perfect weather, perfect traffic, really, for pretty much everybody. If you're on northbound 55, I still don't see any delays in the work zones or otherwise, for that matter. Northbound 270 and South 270 around Ladue still look good. Westbound 64, I've been talking about this road work going on between K and Winghaven. There's a little bit of a jam now, 94 through K. That left lane's closed, and it's bogged down, not quite midway out to Winghaven. It picks up the pace before then, but it is a little more congested there now than it was 10 minutes ago. Seeing some heavy traffic on Lindbergh, north of 64, northbound getting up through Conway. Southbound is bogged down from Ladue through the Conway Road area, so a little busy traffic around there. Downtown, we still look great. Westbound 55, 70, 64, no delays coming into the Poplar or Musial Veterans Bridges. So really, for the most part, everything looking pretty good so far. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be delightful with the exception of some haze from Canadian wildfire smoke. That means an air quality alert is in effect through midnight tonight. Otherwise, hazy sunshine today, low humidity, high 81, near 60 overnight. And then tomorrow's high near 80, Sunday's high 84. Currently hazy sunshine, 66 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues now at 7:51. Boeing rolls out what it describes as its last, best, and final offer to union members who will vote on it Sunday.
Dan Gillian, Boeing's Air Dominance VP and senior St. Louis site executive, calls it the richest deal ever proposed to Machinists Local 837. This involves about 3,200 local workers who build military aircraft like the F-15 and T-7 trainer. The revised deal boosts pensions, keeps current overtime rules, scraps a controversial schedule plan, and adds a 50-cent hourly bonus for longtime employees. A $5,000 ratification bonus is also on the table, but only if workers approve the deal by Sunday. The union previously rejected Boeing's first offer. The machinist said that offer fell short of addressing the priorities and sacrifices of its skilled workforce. If there is no deal, a strike could begin just after midnight on August 4th. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A new report to the mayor calls for bold action to revitalize St. Louis.
Did you read it? I am really excited about it.
The report from Mayor Kara Spencer's Transition Committee lays out short-term and long-term changes to improve the city in 6 key areas. Amongst those 6 include rebuilding the local economy, improving city services, and enhancing public safety. Mayor Spencer shares an area of the report her administration is focusing on already.
We're really honing in on some of the accountability in city services, the data, warehousing, the sort of really looking at the time that it takes to deliver a pothole being filled.
Some of the bolder short-term proposals include a recruiting blitz to bring on 200 new police officers and 30 new dispatchers, expediting development plans, and launching a downtown activation campaign to boost morale and foot traffic. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The number of kindergartners in the U.S. getting vaccinations declined again last year. And as KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports, the exemption rate rose to an all-time high.
Nationally, 4.1% of children were exempt from vaccine requirements in 2024, up from 3.1% the year before. The CDC says the vast majority of parents are withholding shots for non-medical reasons. All states allow exemptions for children with medical conditions, and most permit exemptions for religious or other non-medical reasons. In Missouri, the number of religious exemptions jumped from 3.4% in public schools to over 4%. In Missouri private schools, religious exemptions went up from nearly 5% to closer to 6.5% last year. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Pennywise, one tough turtle. The adult loggerhead was hit by a boat off the coast of Florida earlier this year, broke part of Pennywise's shell, which is usually fatal, but she was nursed back to health by a horse clinic. She had to be taken in by that kind of a clinic because she weighed over 300 pounds. Now she's back in the ocean thanks to the veterinarians. One of the vets tells us it was special to get her back into her natural habitat.
It's really rare to have a sea turtle come in over 300 pounds and a female during nesting season. So being able to get her back out into the ocean is an extra special case.
It's now 7:54.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius. Or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
The big spending bill President Trump signed into law could force some hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes to close. I'm Jackie Fortier, and this is your KFF Health News Minute. Reductions in federal support for Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act will result in millions of people losing insurance, forcing hospitals and nursing homes to absorb the costs of treating more uninsured people. Republicans also approved a $50 billion fund to support rural health facilities, but experts predict rural areas will lose 3 times that amount from the cuts. Dengue infections are on the rise in the U.S., and the mosquito-borne illness may be here to stay. Mosquitoes that carry the virus have been spreading to new parts of the country as the climate changes. Symptoms include intense joint and muscle pain and nausea. There's no specific treatment. Your best bet is to avoid getting bitten, use bug repellent, and drain pools of standing water where mosquitoes breed. There's more at kffhealthnews.org.
Let's get you to work on this Friday morning. Roger Brand will help you out. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I got a crash on the highways now, Megan. I'm looking at the left lane is shut down northbound to 55 just before the exit to Virginia. North 55 just before Virginia. Left lane closed. And, of course, there's only 2 lanes of 55 in that work zone. So northbound 55 is backed up right now past almost back to River to Pear. So be prepared northbound on 55 right now. Also have that earlier injury crash they're trying to get wrapped up on Manchester just west of Renke Road. We have a new injury crash in South County on Fine Road right near Rogers Elementary School. They sent EMS there a few minutes ago. And westbound 64, the roadwork going on between K and Winghaven. The left lane closed. There's a jam from 94 through K, and then it's slow past that point, but not even midway to Winghaven before it gets back on track at that point. But other than those issues, the rest of the interstates really look pretty good. There's a little delay northbound 67 at Double C, just a little slowdown waiting for the signals there. Downtown westbound Illinois drivers still have a great run on 55, 70, and 64 across the Poplar and Musel Veterans Bridges. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is Friday, August 1st. I'm Debbie Monterey.
Boeing makes its final offer. Thousands of jobs and jets hang in the balance. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Sean Malone. Are you behind on your water bill in St. Louis City? Well, the pandemic-era moratorium is about to be lifted. I've got that story coming up.
A new bipartisan effort underway in Illinois to reform the process of drawing legislative districts to avoid lawmakers choosing voters.
And CBS correspondent Natalie Brand joins us to discuss President Trump's finalized list of tariffs and international reaction.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire. We'll have reduced air quality through midnight tonight. Hazy sun today with low humidity, high 81.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The job market has slowed way down. The Labor Department's just released numbers for July. They show employers added a measly 73,000 positions. That's lower than the 100 to 120,000 analysts were expecting. And it turns out the previous months were even worse than first reported. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
In May, we had a revision down by 125,000 jobs. The initial report was 144,000. Now just 19,000. The June report was revised down by 133,000 from 147,000 to 14,000.
A Federal Reserve governor's broken with Chairman Powell again. Michelle Bowman said today putting off an interest rate cut, as the Fed did again this week, could result in further deterioration of the labor market. The White House says the president's new tariffs will incentivize companies to move production to the U.S. and create more jobs here. Hours before they were set to kick in, he added a new surprise round to take effect next Thursday. CBS's Jolene Kent says many are worried.
I've talked to a couple of business owners overnight, and they say this uncertainty has just heightened, and they're looking at the holiday season thinking, oh my gosh, what about what I'm going to be able to sell?
A run on iPhones helped Apple to a strong third quarter. CBS's Michael Wallace.
iPhone sales were up 13% from a year earlier. Alex Coffey is a senior trading strategist at Charles Schwab.
This is about as positive of an iPhone story as we've gotten from Apple in probably the last 3 years.
Apple CEO Tim Cook says many customers upgraded their iPhones ahead of the tariffs.
Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee got a firsthand look at the hunger crisis when they visited a food distribution site in Gaza today. The BBC's Emmer Nadar from Jerusalem.
These are aid distribution sites that have been linked to deadly incidents. We just heard from
from the United Nations yesterday that they've counted over 850 Palestinians who've been killed near these aid distribution sites. The majority alleged to have been killed by Israeli troops, says the United Nations.
Massive flooding washed out roads and train tracks across the Northeast. The iconic platform at New York City's Grand Central Station was covered. Waterfalls flowed inside subway stations. CBS New York's Elijah Westbrook at a Long Island Railroad stop.
Overnight, they did send out crews to inspect the tracks, look for any problem spots. They're looking at the tracks themselves, even the roadbed, because it was an absolute mess out here.
A 13-year-old boy died when he was sucked into a sewage drain pipe in Maryland. Dow futures down 366. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, August 1st. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. The quality of the air in St. Louis right now is considered unhealthy by government air tracker AirNow. In the last 2 weeks, the air quality index for the region has been hovering between good and moderate, but Canadian wildfires have caused hazy conditions, and now that AQI is in the red. Boeing makes a new contract offer to Machinist Local 837, calling it the richest deal ever proposed to the St. Louis Union. KMOX's Michael Calhoun has the latest.
This updated offer boosts the pension multiplier in year one, retains current overtime policies, removes a controversial workweek schedule plan, adds a 50-cent per hour annual attendance bonus, and there's a $5,000 ratification bonus on the table. But if members vote to approve the deal on Sunday night, the stakes on this are high. The contract covers about 3,200 workers who build military aircraft like the F-15, FA-18 Super Hornet, T-7 trainer jet, and MQ-25 refueling drone at Boeing's St. Louis area facilities. Union members previously rejected the first initial proposal. They'll take another vote on this new submission on Sunday, beginning at 10 a.m. Central. If they say no, a strike could begin that night at midnight.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer sharing some lofty goals for the coming year. She wants to recruit 200 police officers, overhaul the Citizens Service Bureau, and make funding immediately available to expedite disaster relief. Mayor Spencer says the transition team commissioned a report with those recommendations.
Folks overwhelmingly want to continue to be part of the process as we move forward. And I think having a roadmap that we know has critical buy-in is really important.
St. Louis City will soon begin collecting on long overdue water bills.
Around 13,400 households in St. Louis City are behind on their water bill to a total tune of $12.6 million, or around $940 per household that is currently behind. Water Commissioner for St. Louis City, Niraj Patel, tells KMOX in about a month, that moratorium will be lifted.
The one that was instituted back in 2020 is lifted on September 1st. Our plan is not to go out there and shut all our water customers off, who have delinquent balances.
Patel says those impacted by the tornado from May will be exempt from the moratorium being lifted. He also says that they will not be immediately implementing water shutoffs on people who are behind, but instead working to get them on repayment plans, which he says will be generous and long-term plans. In St. Louis City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Kansas City Chiefs evaluating two options before deciding on the NFL team's future home. Chiefs CEO Clark Hunt tells Missouri Net affiliate KFEQ in St. Joseph that the Kansas offer would provide financing needed to build a new stadium.
And our priority on the Missouri side has been a renovation of GHA Field at Arrowhead. So those are the two primary options.
Hunt says there is a sense of urgency since the Arrowhead lease expires in the spring of 2031, and it takes 4.5 to 5 years to complete a stadium project.
I think anybody who's been coming to Chiefs games for decades understands what a special stadium GHA Field at Arrowhead is. And, it's fun being here at training camp and getting to interact with our fans. And I certainly hear from them in terms of their thoughts.
Hunt says the Chiefs has to make a decision that's best for the team's fans and the organization's future, and that they are intent on getting it right. Nationally, just over 4% of kindergarten students were exempt from vaccine requirements in 2024. That's up from about 3% the year before. As KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports, Missouri is seeing a similar rise in its exemption numbers.
The CDC says the vast majority of parents are withholding shots for non-medical reasons. All states allow exemptions for children with medical conditions, and most permit exemptions for religious reasons. In Missouri's public school kindergartens, the number of religious exemptions jumped from just over 3% to over 4% last year. In Missouri's private school kindergartens, religious exemptions went up from nearly 5% to closer to 6.5% last year. Fred Bodimer, KMOX News.
The Cardinals reflecting on their moves at the trade deadline.
The Major League Baseball trade deadline has come and gone for the Cardinals. They make 3 moves, trading Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets, Steven Matz to the Boston Red Sox, and Phil Maton goes to the Rangers for a package of prospects. Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, content with what the team was able to get back.
When you take players to market, there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of eyes of beholder in terms of value, but overall we felt like we were able to accomplish our goals.
This was the final Major League Baseball trade deadline for Mozeliak as he goes into retirement. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
And the Redbirds on the road in San Diego tonight. First pitch is at 8:40 here on KMOX. It's now 8:08. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Concerned about where your retirement is heading? Is it on track to meet your needs and goals? Are taxes and inflation a constant worry? Well, you can join Jerry Means for What Retirement Means to You, powered by Means Financial Group, and find out how their team can help guide you to that retirement you've always dreamed of. Tune into What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means, Saturdays at 3 on KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. More details at meansfinancialgroup.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10. Let's see if things are still fairly quiet out there on the roads. Roger Brand has more for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, most folks have had a pretty easygoing morning, Megan. We just have 2 places with delays on the interstates. And the one I mentioned at the top of the hour, a new crash. We have northbound 55 at Virginia. The left lane is still shut down just south of Virginia. Some of the cars look like they're on the shoulder at the exit, too. So it's a multi-vehicle wreck, but the left lane's still blocked. Northbound 55 is jammed back to almost Bayless now if you're headed into the city on 55. And again, that left lane shut down, so only the right lane's open in that work zone. And the other delay is westbound 64, still on the brakes from 94 through Highway K. Then it's just slow, not even midway out to Winghaven, and it starts picking up the pace and it's road work. The left lane is shut down there, and only the right lane open at that location as well. Otherwise, the rest of these interstates continue to cruise along. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, hazy sunshine today. It'll be comfortable with low humidity and a high of 81. Clear to partly cloudy and cool with a low near 60 tonight. Sun will mix with some clouds for tomorrow and Sunday, but it's still going to be quite nice. We'll have a high near 80 tomorrow, the high 84 on Sunday. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And it is a nice, cool morning this morning compared to what we have had right now. We do have sunny skies, 67 degrees, both in Florissant and St. Peter's, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. If you look on a map, the state of Illinois is broken up into dozens of smaller chunks that make up our legislative districts. And when it comes to crafting those dividing lines, it's a process that's often controversial. It's sometimes described as lawmakers choosing voters instead of voters choosing lawmakers. And there's a new effort to take the politics out of it. Joining me now, John Shaw. He is director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. John, thanks so much for being with me this morning.
Morning, Megan.
So when it comes to how our state legislative districts are drawn up, I think for a lot of people, it's a process they don't think much about. But how does it really impact people's lives? Meaning, why should we care about this?
Well, I mean, how a map is drawn can affect the politics and therefore the policy of a state. And, Illinois is a perfect example in which, Illinois is a blue state, no doubt about it, but it's probably a sort of 53-43 Democratic, 53-47 Democratic majority. But when you look at our legislative maps, both the Illinois House and Senate, and particularly our congressional maps, it's drawn in such a way that you would think that the Democrats have a 65 or 70% majority. I mean, particularly like our congressional delegation, there's a 14-3 Democratic majority, which is just disproportionate to what the real power is, the kind of the real political force in the state. So yeah, how you draw a map has a big effect on just who represents people in Springfield and what kind of policies they pursue.
I think one of the things that voters see sometimes is uncontested elections, only one party represented on their ballot. Is that a result of the way districts are drawn sometimes?
Is, yeah, because oftentimes the districts are drawn where it's so predominantly they're Democrat or Republican that if you're even down in Southern Illinois, I mean, if you're a Democrat, you have little incentive to run for a race oftentimes because it seems that, the map is written in such a way that the district might have, 65, 70, 75% Republican dominance. So the map determines whether people are willing to spend a year or two of their lives and raise money and that sort of thing to compete in contests. So, human nature is obvious. And if you have a chance to do something, you may give that project a serious consideration. But if it feels like there's absolutely no chance that you're going to prevail, your incentives for putting your family through this sort of difficulties of political campaigns is much reduced.
And then that gives voters fewer options. So, John, the reason why we've had you on today was the fact that in Illinois, there's a new effort by some pretty big names in both Republican and Democratic spheres trying to change how these lines are drawn across the state. Who is involved in this?
The two leaders are Bill Daley, who is President Obama's former chief of staff, Commerce Secretary, and also, part of the Daley family in Chicago. And then Ray LaHood, a very respected congressman and then Secretary of Transportation, a Republican who worked for President Obama. So Mr. LaHood and Mr. Daley are heavy hitters in Illinois, and they have entered the fray on this issue. And it's been around for a while. I mean, there's been several other efforts to try to create a new process for drawing our maps. There was a strong effort in 2016 that was on the ballot, but then the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that the initiative was unconstitutional. So this group is both has a lot of political heft, but it also has some pretty sharp legal acumen, and they're looking very carefully at the 2016 Supreme Court ruling to make sure they understand why the other effort was tossed out by the court and how they can address those concerns.
So what were the concerns? But, how narrowly did they have to write this to try to get this through?
Well, I mean, like one of the concerns, for example, is they created the 2016 effort created a new structure in which the Auditor General played a role in the legislative map drawing, and Supreme Court ruled that a non-legislative body could not be a part of that. So they've gotten rid of that. They've also streamlined some of the processes and tried to just target it so it can be legitimately seen as a citizen initiative. So they've looked at it carefully. They have some good lawyers, and they feel like they've They've addressed a lot of the legal issues that were raised in 2016. But I know this group, and I've talked to several of the leaders. They are, they want to get on the ballot, but they're also bracing for another court challenge. They think it's almost certain that if they're able to get the requisite signatures, that there will be a court challenge, and they're going to have to fight it out in court again to make sure that it's on the ballot come November of 26.
Now, I think it's important to emphasize again that this would only apply to state offices, not, for example, the congressional districts.
That's right. Yeah. And it's no, and it's interesting because, the congressional map is, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, it is really, really, you look at, the Illinois congressional map and you just shake your head. It's the way it's configured is so obviously political. But this effort is designed solely for the Illinois House and Senate. Which are both also, there's an outside group called the Princeton Survey Group that's looked at all the Illinois maps, the Illinois House, the Senate, and the congressional one. And it has two of the three. It gives an F for just being egregiously gerrymandered. So, but yeah, this initiative focuses solely on the Illinois General Assembly seats.
So let's say they get through these hurdles legally. You get it before voters. What's the challenge in trying to get people to understand what they're trying to do?
That's a great point. And, first of all, I mean, just in this intensely political environment, most people, I think, are fair-minded and they say, yeah, we should have fair maps. But if you're a Democrat, you say, okay, you should have fair maps, but, and yes, we are in control and we've drawn maps that are sharply to our advantage. But they would add, if Republicans were in our place, they would do the exact same thing. And they would also point to some of the things that are going on at a national level right now, particularly down in Texas, where it's a slightly different issue, but they're, trying to redraw the congressional maps, halfway through the requisite 10-year period. So I think the big problem, Megan, there's so much distrust that, it's almost like when you get power, you use it to your utter maximum because you're fearful that if the other side gets it, they will do it as well. So, but of course, that's sort of the argument of this group is that, neither party really trusts each other. And so you need to have an independent process that is, as devoid as possible from politics to draw these maps. So you have competitive races in which you have typically more centrist, moderate candidates who are fighting for in a competitive election and put forth, solutions rather than just slogans and sound bites.
Well, John, thank you so much. Always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
That is John Shaw. He is director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at SIU Carbondale. Still ahead this hour on Total Information AM, we're going to look at astrology. It is growing in popularity again. And then we're going to look at changes that President Trump wants to make to the White House. He wants a ballroom. We're going to talk with CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand about what the plans are for that. It's now 8:20. Let's get an update on the ride into work for you with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have our trouble spot on northbound Highway 55. This crash, northbound 55, right at Virginia, just before the Virginia exit. The left lane's blocked, so only the right lane's open through that work zone, and it's a solid jam back through Bayless on northbound Highway 55 right now until they can get that crash cleared. Northbound 67 still a little heavy coming up to Double C. South 270, Ladue to 64. That looks a little slow now. And we still have the delays westbound 64 from 94 through K to a point, maybe half, 3/4 of a mile west of K, bumper to bumper traffic through there. Again, the left lane is closed. That's for road work, only the right lane open, and that's the reason for the delays at that point. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, one thing you do need to know about is the air quality. We are under an air quality alert through midnight tonight, and that is due to Canadian wildfire smoke. And we're also going to see that as hazy sunshine today. But the temperatures are going to be more comfortable, and we're going to have lower humidity today. Expect a high around 81 degrees. For tonight, clear to partly cloudy and cool, and overnight low near 60. As we head into the weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, pleasant with sunshine and some clouds. We're going to have highs in the low 80s. And then by Monday, we're going to see some more humidity come back in, partly sunny skies with a high of 86. Tuesday, partly sunny, humid, a thunderstorm in spots possible, a high of 87. We do have sunny skies now, 67 degrees both in Florissant and St. Peters, 66 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
From chili cook-offs to Friday night football, Belleville knows how to show up. And now, so does KMOX on 104.1 FM.
Cardinals get the win. They visit the New York Mets tonight. The Blues, they will play Saturday at 5 o'clock.
It's your news, your sports, your city. Loud and clear on the FM dial. 104.1 FM KMOX. The voice of Belleville. The voice of St. Louis.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Astrology is growing in popularity.
So you were born with Sagittarius rising.
Something in the stars, some divine imperative led us to Danielle Polgar.
You have your moon in Aquarius's opposite sign.
This astrological counselor in Santa Fe gave me my first natal reading, a cosmic clocking of my life's patterns and cycles.
There's a collective curiosity about astrology. And I think what it can really facilitate is helping people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
In our stressful world, astrology feels bigger than ever. In the U.S., it's an online industry worth an estimated $3 billion. CoStar, one of the most popular astrology apps, reports 30 million registered users.
What do you say to people watching who will say, come on, this is 2025. How do you still believe in this stuff?
It's our first tool to understand our relationship with whatever this place is, right? You're still an Aquarius, even if you're like, I don't buy into that.
But for some people, the imponderable mystery in the stars is astrology itself.
You look at the same sky as astrologers, but you see something very different.
Yes, in multiple ways.
Astrophysicist Montana Williams stargazes from the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in New Mexico.
So radio antennas like this can receive radio waves from the edge of the universe.
Basically, yes.
Williams tracks the origins of the universe, but all she knows about astrology is that she was born a Leo.
Is astrology to you a pseudoscience, a poetic science?
I don't know what astrology is, to be honest. I will say that I am a bit biased that I don't entirely believe in it.
Astrology is not science like this, not even close. But there's quite a market for mystical services. Roughly 30% of Americans say at least once a year they consult horoscopes, tarot cards, or fortune tellers. I'm Mark Strassman in Santa Fe.
Apparently, I'm a Libra and I desire balance. So that's about all I know about my astrological sign. It's now 8:26.
Helping to improve visibility behind the wheel. This is Jeff Gilbert with the Car Chronicles. Insurance Institute for Highway Safety researcher Becky Miller with a new study that shows vehicles have more and larger blind spots than they did 25 years ago. This comes as they found better way to measure visibility.
We hope that the method that we have created here to obtain this data is something that we can use as a foundation to give them guidance as to how to better design the vehicle structures to reduce blind zones.
The Insurance Institute constantly looking at new areas of safety to measure and quantify, and this is the latest.
The long-term goal would be that all of the vehicles that we currently rate, we will also be able to provide consumers with information about the blind zones.
The overall goal is to pressure car makers to take vehicles that are already safe and make them even safer. With the Car Chronicles, I'm Jeff Gilbert, CBS News.
It's now 8:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
I'm Larry Magid with the Connect Safely report. There is evidence that cyberbullying is on the rise. The Cyberbullying Research Center examined 14 different studies from 2016 to 2025 and found that about a third of teens reported having been cyberbullied in the past 30 days, about twice the number reported in 2016. In 2022, the Pew Research Center found that nearly half of U.S. teens said that they had experienced at least one type of cyberbullying, with offensive name-calling the most common, followed by spreading false rumors, receiving explicit images they didn't ask for, and being constantly asked where they are and what they're doing. More, including Connect Safely's parent guide to cyberbullying at connectsafely.org/radio. With the Connect Safely report, I'm Larry Magid for CBS News.
This isn't your typical lunchtime baseball chatter. This is the Gas House Gang.
I'll say this. Here's my perspective.
Tom Ackerman, Chris Ronzi, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklasz bring smart, informed Cards talk. And every Tuesday,
We welcome in the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol.
you want real Cardinals conversation? You're in the right place. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of baseball.
Let's head back now to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, what's happening on the roads right now?
Well, there's still no change on northbound 55, Megan. We still have this crash. It looked to be minor. I've never seen EMS there, but I guess they can't move it. It's still in the left lane, northbound 55. Just before the Virginia exits, only the right lane's open in that work zone, and traffic is at a standstill at Bayless on northbound 55 right now. Starting to see some more slow traffic, oddly enough, later in the rush hour, but South 270 a slowdown now south of Olive down to 64. Westbound 64, the delays we had through 94 past K in that work zone area, that's finally thinned out. It looks good for you there. And it looks like I mentioned earlier, a report of a crash on Fine, south of Telegraph on Fine, right near Rogers Elementary School. It looks to me like Fine may be closed down. I think I heard them talking about maybe a gas main being struck. So it looks like there may be restrictions there. Just be advised of that as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. Again, there is an air quality alert in effect through midnight. That's due to Canadian wildfire smoke. So if you do have respiratory issues, you may want to stay inside today. Hazy sunshine, otherwise comfortable. Low humidity, a high of 81 degrees. Clear to partly cloudy and cool tonight with an overnight low of 60. And then for the weekend, it's going to be pleasant. Sunshine, maybe a few clouds, highs between 80 and 84. Currently, we have sunshine, 66 degrees in downtown St. Louis. President Trump has finalized his list of tariffs to be imposed on nations exporting products to the United States. Let's get the latest on that and some other things happening at the White House. With me now, CBS correspondent Natalie Brand. Natalie, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Great to join you.
So, Natalie, which countries are included in this latest round of tariffs that I think kick in, August 7th?
Yeah, that's right. There's a few extra days for customs officials to, I guess, adjust and implement. But The White House released a list just ahead of the August 1st deadline, which talks about nearly 70 trading partners, rates for nearly 70 countries, ranging from 41% when you're looking at Syria, 39% for Switzerland, down to 10% at the lower end. And White House officials say that, they really broke the countries into different buckets. If the U.S. had a trade surplus with a country, goods would face that lower 10% baseline rate. Where there was a small deficit, they generally face 15%, and then countries with larger deficits face roughly what had been announced back in April and what the White House had called Liberation Day, or could have been reduced down through the negotiations. As you know, Megan, there have been announcements of deals, or at least frameworks for agreements with 6 countries, including Japan and South Korea, as well as the EU. So that's significant. When you look at some of our top trading partners, we're talking about Canada, Mexico, and China. Negotiations are continuing with Mexico and with China, but Canada, the president announced that tariff rate will actually be increased to 35%, citing a lack of cooperation regarding the flow of illicit fentanyl. Canada's prime minister pushing back, saying that Canada only accounts for 1% of fentanyl into the U.S. and that they really, I think what it's reflective of is talks between those leaders really stalling.
One other thing I want to talk to you about while we've got you here, the White House apparently announcing that it will be starting construction on a new $200 million ballroom in September. A lot of people asking, why is this necessary and who is paying for it?
Right. So who's paying for it? The White House says that President Trump and donors will be paying for it, although we don't have exact specifics about donors, and we'll have to wait and see, what the cost ends up being and whether the president makes good on that promise. But he said that this is something that's been asked about and needed for years, since there are space constraints and limitations here at the White House for big events. So he sees himself as a builder and developer and says he's good at ballrooms, and he's going to get this going. Construction expected to begin in September, and they're aiming for it to be done before he leaves office in 2029. What is notable is it would be the first structural change to the executive mansion since the Truman balcony in 1948. Construction is planned for the East Wing, where the office of the First Lady is. This would not necessarily, be. It would be adjacent, not interfering or in any way changing that structure. Of course, everything has to go through preservation and a bunch of different processes, since you are dealing with the White House.
All right. That is CBS correspondent Natalie Brand. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And coming up on Total Information AM, we have your money report from Bloomberg.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
8:36 at 104.1 FM KMOX. It's time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. New headache for the international pharmaceutical industry. President Trump sending letters to 17 of the world's largest drug makers, including Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, Pfizer, and others, demanding they charge the U.S. what other countries pay for new medicines. President Trump giving the companies 60 days to voluntarily comply. He's threatening to deploy every tool in the U.S. government arsenal to protect U.S. families from what he calls continued abusive drug pricing practices if they don't. Investors this morning also focused on the employment situation in the U.S. The jobs report July getting some scrutiny today. It could give more clues on when the Fed might cut interest rates. Major weakness in the job market would make it easier for the Fed to cut. Apple could be a crowd pleaser on Wall Street today. The iPhone maker reporting its fastest quarterly revenue growth in more than 3 years. Different picture, though, for Amazon. It is projecting weaker than expected results than its cloud rivals, and that's in spite of all of Amazon's big spending on AI. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Sunny skies, 70 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. A federal appeals court has upheld a jury verdict condemning Google's Android App Store as an illegal monopoly. That clears the way for a federal judge to enforce a shakeup that's designed to give consumers more choices. President Donald Trump calling for the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors to usurp the power of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Trump criticized the head of the U.S. Central Bank for not cutting short-term interest rates. We have Hancock and Kelly coming up next here on KMOX. First, though, let's get the latest on the roads from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, there's still no change on northbound 55. That crash is still out there, north 55, just before Virginia. Left lane shut down, only the right lane open in the construction zone. It's a solid jam back through Bayless on northbound Highway 55 right now, so just be prepared if you're headed that way. Reporting an injury crash on eastbound Highway 100 at Highway M. Emergency crews on the way. You may still find some restrictions. I'm just seeing a slowdown now. Southbound Fine near Rogers Elementary School, but I believe there may still be restrictions there from an earlier crash. And South 270 still a little busy south of Olive down through the Ladue Road area. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Time for the Friday edition of Hancock and Kelly.
You two belong together.
John Hancock, Michael Kelly on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Friday, St. Louis. Happy Friday, John Hancock.
Back at you, big boy. Here we're sitting in the beautiful Forest Park out here.
We're at the visitor center. Why are we here?
I don't know, but the GPS getting over here, I must have driven entirely through this entire park.
Yeah.
I must have done 4 miles of driving once I got inside the park. Well, it said you go a half a mile, then you turn right at the stop sign, and then you go another half a mile, and then I passed the place because you couldn't get in the parking lot.
But, John, in fairness, any change in normal places that you know where to go,
it's not good.
You have no clue how to get anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's not good. But I found it.
You have actually been right at this location and broadcasted here before.
I did not know that.
Yes. We are here today because the Chris and Amy show is going to be broadcasting from the Visitor Center in Forest Park.
They're both here.
all morning. They're right here. Amy's jogging in place, and Chris is having a biscuit.
Yeah.
Getting ready for today's show.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage everyone to come into Forest Park, and this is your opportunity to meet Chris Ranji.
Yeah, Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores. Peach is here, and he's got a bucket full of lemonade. So,
well, speaking of buckets, somebody's in a bucket of it, and
yes.
that would be the county executive of St. Louis County. It broke earlier on Monday that the Highway Patrol went and seized his phone.
Yeah.
And then later on Wednesday, we find out he's indicted on 4 different counts. First of all, what's your take here? Is this a real deal, or could this be chalked up as political prosecution?
Well, it's a real deal. He used county resources, taxpayer money, and postage to send out what ostensibly was a political mailing opposing an initiative that the county council had placed on the ballot in April that would have allowed them to have the ability to fire Sam Page's appointees, right? And so he didn't want that. And we don't have all of the facts here, but it's pretty clear to me that they did everything they could to try and skirt the law, and they got busted. And it was arrogance, I think, more than anything.
Well, it is a controversial topic because any of us who live in a school district, fire district, library district at one time or another has received information from that entity saying, hey, we're going to be going on to the ballot should this pass. Boy, I hear Captain Roger Brand's in the studio with us, it feels like, doesn't it?
Something.
But anyway, we've all experienced the education where it would come and say, hey, look, if this passes, this school district's going to build a new high school.
Right.
The argument here is that wasn't really what this was. This was a more of a proactive vote against this piece of legislation.
Yeah.
But in fairness to Sam Page, he does have an argument to make that says who's the arbiter here on what's advocacy and what's not.
Well, he's got an argument to make, but a grand jury found that he did something illegal. And, putting out a fact sheet is one thing.
Right.
And a lot of political jurisdictions do that on things that are going to be on the ballot. But an advocacy piece is something altogether different. And the law is pretty clear about express advocacy. And so here's what I think. Here's how I think this thing plays out.
All right.
He's got 2 misdemeanor counts of election violations. He's got 2 felony counts of stealing. That would be the postage of the piece. And what I think is going to happen, he's got very good lawyer. Jeff Jensen is his defense attorney. I think they're going to plead this down to a misdemeanor so that Sam Page can keep his medical license, because you lose your medical license if you get convicted of a felony. I think they'll plead it down to a misdemeanor. And I think part of that plea agreement will be that Sam Page has to resign as county executive, and there won't be any jail time. And that's how I think this thing resolves eventually.
A couple of thoughts. One of the rumors I heard is that the Highway Patrol tried to find him in a couple of different places, including the hospital. I didn't know that he was still going to the hospital.
Is that right?
Yeah. And you couple that with the fact that when I heard this on Monday, John, I don't ever recall an instance where a politician's phone was seized by the Highway Patrol. That's typically something we hear related to the FBI. Now, of course, somebody went in front of a judge with probable cause and said, we know what's in that phone. We can get it. A judge agreed to it. But can you recall a time where the state implemented something this on a politician?
So, this was a state statute that was violated. It wasn't a federal law. So the feds had no, involvement whatsoever. And it was a state statute. This is not dissimilar from the stuff. Remember our friend Jeff Smith that used to be a state senator.
Right.
He went to jail over
some coordination of mail, etc.
A campaign finance violation.
You don't believe this ends in him going to jail?
No,
but ultimately he probably is out of office.
I think that's correct.
Kind of an unbelievable turn of events, right? Because Sam Page comes in at a time that Steve Stanger was embroiled in his controversy, wound up going to jail, being convicted. In fact, I remember the picture of Sam showing up with a broom saying, boy, we're going to sweep out corruption and we're going to bring transparency to county government. It's interesting he's been absent from the scene this week as well.
Yeah, and revel, and I hate to see misfortune come to anybody. But it's unfortunate, but it was avoidable. And the thing is, that proposition was going to go down to defeat anyway because there was no money expended to support it. And voters, if you know anything about voter behavior, if you've got an issue on the ballot and there's nothing spent, the overwhelming majority of people are going to vote no.
Well, we're going to be tracking this for the next several months. You have to believe it's going to live for a little while.
You think so? I think that's correct. That's Michael Kelly. I'm John Hancock. We're out here at Forest Park at the Visitor Center. Come on by. We'll see you right around the corner here on KMOX.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Get ready, St. Louis. Two acclaimed performers will headline a summer finale on the Muni stage Thursday, August 28th. International music icon Diana Ross and multi-Grammy Award-winning artist John Baptiste. And this is your chance to win a premium VIP experience to see the show. VIP includes a pair of box seats, a pair of VIP pre-party tickets, free drinks at the intermission bar, and a free parking pass. Register now online at KMOX.com/contest for your chance to win.
And welcome back to KMOX. It's the Hancock and Kelly Show. We are the warm-up act for the Chris and Amy show here at the Visitor Center in Forest Park.
They're in the green room, getting with a star-studded array of materials to eat and drink, and here we are.
It is an absolutely spectacular day in Forest Park. So if you ever wanted to meet Chris Ranji, now is your opportunity to come and see him in person. That the glasses, the hat, all of his majesty on full glory.
Sure enough.
And John, yesterday was the trade deadline. Satisfied with the Cardinals' 3 moves?
No. They dealt 3 bullpen arms, and all of them are not, their contracts are up at the end of the year. So when you trade basically a rental to another team, your return is not going to be that great. And so the Cardinals got, and telling, I think, about where this club is right now, is most of the talent they got back was A-level 20-year-old ball players that are years away from the major leagues if they ever eventually make it to the major leagues. And meanwhile, the Cardinals have this glut of left-handed bats on the roster who are controllable for the next several years. I'm thinking about, Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar,
Alec
Burleson, Nolan Gorman, all left-handed bats that you could have actually gotten perhaps some Major League Baseball ready talent in exchange for those, because they've got club control for 2 or 3 or more years. So I was less than impressed with.
Yeah, but if you're truly in rebuilding mode, and that's what we're seeing, isn't the evidence of a positive trade something you see a couple of years down the road? I think about when Adam Wainwright showed up on the scene in St. Louis. He wasn't expected to be what he was because, it took a year or two for him to develop into that.
It did. And, of course, that was a big trade because J.D. Drew was the Cardinal that went to Atlanta at that time. And Wainwright, Jason Marquis, was the marquee player in that trade.
Was he the one to put all the stuff on his hat?
No, that was Steve Klein.
That's the Klein.
But anyway, Marquis was in that trade, and Wainwright was the minor league prospect. And at that point in his career, Wainwright had been something of a disappointment. And it was not until he got into the Cardinal organization that he really got serious about his pitching, taking care of himself, his diet, exercise regimen, and so forth. And it became
the legend,
arguably the second greatest pitcher in Cardinal history, second or third.
Yeah.
Behind Gibson, and you can make a case for Dizzy Dean being the second greatest, but Wainwright's certainly one of the top three pitchers.
Did you ever see Dizzy pitch?
Nobody. How old do you think I am?
I don't know. It'd be a good question. Hey, the President of the United States was over in England.
He was.
And of course, he does what the President of the United States does, right?
He was in Scotland.
Yeah, he was presidential. No, he was punching down. He was picking a fight with the mayor of London.
Yeah.
I mean, what? You're the most powerful man in the world. You go to another country, and their city, and you pick a fight with the mayor? Like, come on, dude. What's up with this guy?
Well, I mean, is anyone surprised here?
No.
I'm not. This tariff regime that we're now living under as of today, the 1st of August, I am not a fan of tariffs, and I know there are fans of them out there, and the president chief among them. But it's hard for me to understand how bringing products into this country and
taxing them,
Americans paying the taxes to bring them in, and then the consumers paying the taxes from the importers. It's hard for me to see how that's beneficial to our economy.
Well, and then the president, while he's dealing with the tariffs, which he kind of tends to chicken out and kick it down the road for another 30 days, he's not able to do that with this Epstein scandal. Boy, this continues to go on. Now you have the Republicans going back to their districts and having town halls, etc., and they are taking it. People are not going to let Donald Trump move on from this.
Oh, I think it's eventually all going to come out, and just a matter of timing. And, I don't know what's in there, but I think the president knows what's in there. And we know that the president doesn't want it to come out. So that tells you something.
The governor of this state weighed in this week and said, I'm with President Trump. We need to redraw the lines in the state of Missouri, potentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right now we have a 6-2 map. And they would like to change it to a 7-1 map, trying to eliminate Emmanuel Cleaver over in Kansas City. I was surprised that Mike Kehoe took that position. Having said that, if this is something Donald Trump wants, if you're a Republican, don't you have to go forward with it?
Yeah, and I think you are going to see a map redrawn. And in order to make Missouri a 7-1, 7 Republican, 1 Democrat congressional district, you realize that will mean, in all likelihood, that we will have a state with 8 congressional districts and not have a single member of Congress who lives in either of the 2 largest cities. So today is the first time in Missouri history where we've not had a member of Congress who lives in the city of St. Louis. That's never happened before. And if they redraw this map, the most likely outcome is that there will not be a member of Congress who lives in Kansas City, Missouri. That's pretty remarkable.
And for those people out there that are like, yeah, let's do it, we need to give them another vote. What happens now? Texas is going to do this. California goes and doesn't. New York doesn't. I mean, this is not the way that it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be every 10 years.
Correct. It's not the way it's supposed to work. And, at some point the courts are going to weigh in. I'm a little doubtful that any of this stuff is going to prevail. I mean, I think they'll try and redraw the lines, but they're going to get tied up in court, and there's a myriad of different angles upon which you can sue. So, we'll see how it plays out.
Isn't the risk for the Republicans in trying to draw a 7-1 map that in a couple of years, in fact, that could be a 5-3 map?
Well, or next year.
Right.
So, because what you're doing when you're adding Republican seats, you're going from a 58% Republican district to a 52% Republican district. And those things become jeopardized, perhaps. Well, we need to step aside because Chris and Amy have exited the green room, and they'll be up next right here on KMOX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh